Hello everyone, Zeteo. Zeteo's literally in the house. I'm Mehdi, Hasan, Prem, Thakker's here. We're here at the Zohran Mamdani event in Brooklyn, waiting for the polls to close here in New York City for a little mayoral race that you may have heard that's happening, Prem. You heard about mayoral race happening in New York?
Tell me more.
I don't know. It's pretty exciting. A lot of people here. It took ages to get in the building.
Oh my gosh. So when I got here, there were hundreds and hundreds of people waiting in line to get into the Zohran Mamdani HQ election night party, and all of those people were just press. I have been to enough events, not a ton, but enough to know that this does not happen, let alone in municipal politics, state politics, presidential politics.
This is not a municipal event by any chance. The world's media is here tonight. We're happy to be here too. Live broadcasting on YouTube and Substack. Keep watching tonight. Stick your questions in the chat. We're going to be here all night till we get a result. And who better to talk to about when we get that result and what that result might be? We've got Dora Pekec, who is Zohran Mamdani's national press secretary, who's in the house. She can join us now. Dora, welcome.
Hi, nice to see you, Mehdi. Nice to see you, Prem.
I'm going to give you a microphone here. We're live on YouTube and Substack with our subscribers, viewers around the world. We love Zeteo.
We love Zeteo.
Dora, what's your day been like today?
You know, it's been a crazy few days. We've got a candidate with a lot of energy who really wanted to run through the tape. So we
Andrew Cuomo, right?
Funny. You know, Saturday night we went to 6 different nightclubs in Brooklyn to turn out the vote. We saw marathon runners. We were back at church the next day at 8 a.m. On Monday morning, we walked at sunrise from across the Brooklyn Bridge to City Hall to kind of symbolize ushering in this new era that we're about to see in New York City.
How do you feel about all the media here tonight? This must be a bit of a challenge. The world's media is here for a city mayoral race.
Yes, I was joking the other day that we possibly had every single country of the European Union represented at one of our press conferences. And I think that's because people are really inspired by what they're seeing here. You know, we just saw in an exit poll, 1 out of 6 New York City voters are new or first-time voters. We're bringing in new voters into the political process. We're changing the electorate in real time, proving the pundits wrong. We're changing how things are done, and we're going to do that when he's mayor.
And so you seem very optimistic. What are things looking like so far from what you know in terms of the votes today and early voting?
So we are set to hit over 2 million total votes, which would be a historic first. You know, the last time that happened was in 2005.
Yeah, wow.
And it's possible we hit even higher than that. In the primary, when we had a high turnout, it was very, very good for us. And, you know, our campaign so far, since the first day of early voting, we've knocked 500,000 doors. And in total today, we hit 3 million doors knocked.
Today,
today, 3 million number. That's
that milestone was hit today.
Yes, that milestone was hit today.
Are you happy that absentee ballots, all of this, you know, we're seeing early voting record numbers as well? I think the last day of early voting got more voters on Sunday than the last day of early voting in the presidential election, is what I'm reading.
That's right.
And is that helping you or helping Cuomo?
It's absolutely helping us. We're changing the electorate. A lot of these are new voters who are disillusioned by the political process. You know, they're inspired by Mamdani because they're actually seeing a new kind of politics that works for them and not the billionaire class. And just to talk about for a second what we're up against here, right? We have almost $40 million in spending against our candidate and in favor of Andrew Cuomo. We've got Andrew Cuomo getting picked by Donald Trump, right, getting his endorsement, getting Stephen Miller's endorsement. And we have a GOP candidate who's the most well-funded New York City Republican in a long, long time.
So if you're just joining the stream now, Dora Pekec is here. She is Zohran Mamdani's press secretary, been with him since his primary landslide. We don't know what the result's going to be tonight. Is he going to win? Is it going to be a landslide? Is it going to be big? If he wins, what does tomorrow look like, dare I say? Because it's not over, right? This is just the beginning. Like winning the election, then it's like, these billionaires not going to stop, Donald Trump's not going to stop.
Absolutely. I mean, look, these billionaires are not stacked up against us because they think we're not going to deliver on our agenda. They're working against us precisely because they know that we will. And, you know, what we want to see January 1st going into the admin is we're prioritizing the same 3 things that he launched this campaign with. So that's freezing the rent for over 1.5 million tenants, that's universal childcare, and fast and free buses.
Well, one other question I had, well, 2 actually. One, you talked about the last week of campaigning, going to nightclubs, church, hospital, airport, everything in between. When is Zohran and the rest of you sleeping?
We're not sleeping much. And you know, those are some of the benefits of having a young, energetic candidate.
Yes.
People are very shocked and
when
surprised
When I
see
was
that.
34, I had more energy. Prem's not yet 34.
And I think we need more of that. But I really, more seriously, I think it represents a candidate who really wants to be New York City and meet all of New York City. This traditional type of campaigning, we're kind of doing it in a 21st century way.
Last question to you, Dora. He's going to be up on that stage later tonight, possibly giving a victory speech. Is the speech written? Is it done? Is he winging it?
He's finishing up the speech right now.
Okay.
There you have it.
There you have it. He's finishing up the speech. You guys are going to stick with this stream. We're going to be here all night until it's done.
Until it's done.
Until
That's
it's done.
So on message, Mehdi.
Dora, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I don't think you're going to get some sleep tonight, but I hope you do.
Not tonight.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dora. That was Dora Pekec, who's press secretary to Zohran Mamdani. Thank you so much for joining us. This is crazy, as you can see here. That's our first guest. We got a lot of good guests tonight.
A lot of good guests.
We're hoping to grab Cynthia Nixon, Zeteo contributor, award-winning actress, big Zohran supporter. In fact, brought Zohran to Zeteo first. She did the first interview with Zohran Mamdani on his settlers bill last year. There's a lot going on tonight. We should remind people that it's not just a mayoral election in New York. There are elections across the country. In California, there's a Prop 50 vote on redistricting. In New Jersey, there's a gubernatorial election. In Virginia, there's a gubernatorial election. I don't believe we have a result on the governor's race, but in the lieutenant governor's race, CNN is projecting that Ghazala Hashmi is winning that race, has won that race.
That's breaking news right now.
Breaking
as we
news.
Speak.
We're going to get more info on that. We're going to take a break. We are back. Sorry for the break. We're in a very, very crowded place with a lot of people on the internet. The entire world's media, you can't see it, they're everywhere, are here for a New York mayoral race, Prem. So we are doing a live broadcast and rolling with the punches or whatever the phrase is, but let's talk about what's actually happening. Polls are about to close in, what time is it?
We have about 10 minutes left. We're running on 8:51 Eastern.
Polls are about to close in the most watched election of the year. To put it in context for you, more people voted on the last day of early voting in New York on Sunday than voted on the last day of early voting in the 2024 presidential election in New York. People are turning out in their droves. We could see 2 million people turn out for this election, which would be a record for 30 years. Prem, what is going on in the city?
The numbers are bananas. We are on set, very likely to break 2 million people. That would be a record almost reaching back to the 60s. And one important thing that our previous guest, Dora Pekec, was getting at, she is working with Zohran Mamdani's campaign. She was describing as this campaign of being one that activates a lot of new voters. She was putting up the figure of 1 in 6 voters being newer first-time voters. This is significant for a lot of reasons. One is that they're reshaping the electorate. Oftentimes when you think of high-turn elections, sometimes it's not clear who that helps. Sometimes that doesn't necessarily help Democrat candidates, especially in off-year elections. However, this time, it is clear, especially in the primary, that it is totally different. Numbers look very promising, not just for democracy, but especially for the Mamdani campaign.
And not just for small d Democrats, but for the big D Democratic Party.
Indeed.
Across the country, there are other elections. In Virginia, Abigail Spanberger is now projected to be the first female governor of Virginia, former Democratic member of Congress, former CIA officer, very centrist. She actually attacked Mamdani on Monday night, basically suggesting he was dishonest. That's the Democrats for you, always fighting with each other, even when they're on the verge of a big election. Her lieutenant governor running mate, Ghazala Hashmi, is becoming the first Muslim woman to win stateside anywhere in the United States tonight. If Hashmi wins and Mamdani wins, I suspect Matt Welch will be crying like a little child in the corner of the Daily Wire newsroom as Muslims take over America.
It's really remarkable. I mean,
Prem is not a Muslim, by the way. I know he's brown, but
ally. It's remarkable that, in the days up to this election, there was a lot of discourse of, what happens if Abigail Spanberger and Mickey Sherrill do very well and Zohran Mamdani loses or does kind of well. It seems like tonight, it's still early. We still have a lot of races yet to be claimed and confirmed, but it might just be very well a blue wave night.
Yes, and I think that's what's going to be really important. It's Mamdani's historic moment in New York, but it's an anti-Donald Trump election night, right? You've got prop votes in California. In California, they're voting today on Prop 50, which is Gavin Newsom's attempt to try and do some redistricting in California to push back against Texas gerrymandering and Republican gerrymandering. You've got a vote in Maine to try and a right-wing vote to try and limit absentee ballots to help Susan Collins. People are pushing back against that in Maine. You've got the Virginia gubernatorial election. You've also got the New Jersey gubernatorial. I'm going to wave to Cynthia Nixon is right up there, and Naomi Klein right up there. Naomi and Cynthia, Zeteo contributors, they're going to come down and chat to us soon. But till then, I've got the wonderful Prem Thakker. What does it mean for Mikey Sherrill, who hasn't yet won in New Jersey, but it looks good for her? She was in a tight race against a Trump-endorsed former member of Congress.
Yeah, I think
former Navy pilot.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that underscores the point we're getting at here, which is that whether it's an election that Trump got involved in or not, it's very clear the atmosphere we're in. I mean, we've talked about this before in the Ask the Editor stream earlier this week. Donald Trump is at a historic low in his favorability.
He's more unpopular now
after January 6th.
Amazing, amazing. So of course that helps candidates.
Yes, the atmosphere is incredible, such that anything that Donald Trump even might be suspected of being a part of, even if it's not him, if it's the oligarchy, if it's arguably the pro-Israel lobby, whether it's anything related to the MAGA machine as it stands now, it's toxic, is what it looks like.
So, I mean, look, Zohran Mamdani is a once-in-a-generation candidate. There's no debate about that. But I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today. He got super lucky in going up against the worst possible opponents. Eric Adams, Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa. Like, these are not good candidates, right? Now, I'm not saying a generic Republican would have beaten him, because he clearly has momentum and energy, but he's definitely lucky. And luck plays a big role in politics.
It's true, it's true. I think one other aspect of this, though, is, you know, of course, Andrew Cuomo is disenchanted, sort of disgraced in so many different spaces, but at the same time, his last name is one of the most famous last names in New York State politics.
Yes.
He is someone who's been enjoying the support of several billionaires. Donald Trump.
That's true, that's
Elon
true.
Musk.
We
Stephen
should,
Miller,
you're right.
et cetera, et cetera.
He should have won, by rights.
In many respects.
Even being a bad candidate.
And that, I think, gets to a core issue with the Cuomo campaign, which is throughout this entire time, this stench of inevitability, this presumption that it's his.
Hillary Clinton 08. It feels like Hillary Clinton 08 in many ways. You've got the candidate with name recognition, family dynasty, lots of money, inevitability, and then you've got the skinny, non-white guy with the funny name who comes in, takes a very unpopular foreign policy stance. Obama was anti the Iraq War, Mamdani anti-Gaza. And as I said to Zohran Mamdani when I interviewed him for Zeteo recently, he is everything Barack Obama, the Republicans thought Barack Obama was. He actually is a Muslim socialist from Africa.
It's very perfect. But I guess, I mean, there's growth there too. he can be the scarecrow, and we'll see. But so far, looks to be doing pretty okay this evening.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this is spun, right? Now, guys watching at home, there are pundits and pollsters and influencers across America right now.
And they're not trying to figure out what to do.
What is the narrative? Is it Spanberger and Sherrill, the former Navy pilot, the CIA? They're the future of the party. Don't talk about that Muslim guy in New York, that socialist. They're already pushing that line. Hakeem Jeffries has been pushing that line. The man that Charlemagne calls Apex Shakur. I'm going to see Charlemagne tomorrow morning on the Breakfast Club. Hakeem's been pushing that line. Can we say a word about Chuck Schumer? Can you remind the viewers today what Chuck Schumer did today when he was asked who he voted for?
He did not endorse anyone on the day of the election of the state that he is the senator of. Reminder.
He wouldn't say how he voted.
He did not say how he voted. He just, I voted early. Nothing else. And as a reminder, I know many of you might know, some of you are from all over the world. Hello, we're glad you're tuning in with us. I heard China, Kenya, India, all over the place. Welcome, pleased to meet you. Thank you so much. Chuck Schumer is the Senate Democrat leader. He is the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate. His counterpart, also from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand, is the leader of the committee that elects Democrats in the Senate. Both of them did not endorse the Democratic nominee in New York City for mayor, even up to today, election day. Both of them remain mum silent.
By the way, Kirsten Gillibrand is maybe one of the worst Democrats because she accused Zohran Mamdani of supporting global jihad in a radio show. Complete lie, incendiary Islamophobic smear, and then apparently she privately apologized to him. But she didn't publicly apologize. She didn't publicly withdraw. She didn't apologize to Muslims like me who took it very personally, that Islamophobic smear. Horrible, horrible senator from New York. Both senators from New York have disgraced themselves in this race. Schumer should be forced to resign, and then he should be primaried by AOC or someone. How can the New York senior senator, the leader of the party in the Senate, go to a press conference and say, well, I'm not telling you who I voted for? You're not saying who you voted for in New York? When your party nominee is not just the nominee, he won by a landslide, he's energized young people. Prem, you know better than me. After the last election, the whole Democratic post-mortem was, how do we get the podcast bros? How do we get young men? How do we get energy and excitement? Kamala Harris didn't do it. You got a guy who had marathon runners stopping to take selfies with him over the weekend.
I think this gets to a core issue with us always thinking that Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, the leader of the Democrats, could do better. The issue is that they do not want what Zohran is selling. If they wanted the blueprint for what they wanted, it's right here. This is a man who can connect with almost any voter. This is someone who, you talk about expanding a tent. So often for the past decade, Democrats have talked over and over again about expanding the tent, about welcoming people into the tent. A great example of someone like Zohran Mamdani doing just that is this week. I was at a Zohran Mamdani rally in Queens.
Yes,
he was being heckled by someone who was talking about the Intifada, talking about Zohran Mamdani being a communist. Zohran Mamdani looked at that heckler and said, I appreciate you being here. I'm glad that you're here. I'm here to serve every New Yorker, no matter what you think. I want to be representing and leading a city where all political opinions are welcome.
All right, gonna jump in. So you can see over my shoulder.
Here we go.
Polls are closed. Polls are closed in New York City. No more voting in New York City. And what a guest to arrive as polls close. The one and only Brad Lander is here.
Delighted.
Prem's here. I'm here. Brad's here. Can we get Brad Lander a microphone? How you doing?
It's a great night.
We're live on Zeteo. The polls have closed. We're going to get you a mic so that people can hear your words of wisdom.
I don't know about wisdom, but
So while I get Brad a mic, Brad is the outgoing, is that fair to say?
Indeed.
Is it comptroller or controller?
I say controller.
Controller of New York City. He handles money and shit. He also cross-endorsed Zohran Mamdani during the primaries. He was a rival of Mamdani's, but they cross-endorsed to stop Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo didn't get the hint, and he ran independent.
And now he's going to be embarrassed that he didn't
Is
just
he gonna
stop
be
in the
embarrassed?
primary.
Polls are closed. Is he going to be
I'm
embarrassed?
very optimistic. Turnout is so high, energy is so good. I mean, Andrew Cuomo's worst self is a dark and twisted place, and the race he has run in the waning days will go down
Horrific.
in textbooks as
Disgusting.
like how to show people how bad you are. But Zohran is showing people how to lift people up, and I'm hoping for a big win tonight.
Brad, one question I have comes off just as optimism you're talking about. A lot of people in New York City were very impressed with your decision to cross-endorse, to really get behind the idea of collaborating. That's always been an issue, especially in big city politics where oftentimes progressive candidates can split the vote and someone like Andrew Cuomo can rise. Tell us more about how you came to that decision and how you've reflected on it since.
Yeah. Well, look, ranked choice voting made it possible because you could do a cross endorsement. We knew we could not allow Andrew Cuomo anywhere near City Hall, and that means you got to add your votes up together. And then something beautiful happened. There was a form of solidarity, especially having a Muslim New Yorker and a Jewish New Yorker say, we're not going to be divided by these efforts to weaponize anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. And the result is beautiful. I mean, New York City is an incredible place.
I've got to ask you a question. You mentioned the anti-Semitism. We talked a lot about, and you and I spoke on my show about kind of the weaponizing and the fake charges and whatever. One thing that struck me is the entire debate is about whether Jewish New Yorkers feel safe under a Zohran mayoralty. And in order to make Jewish New Yorkers feel safe, what Cuomo and Trump have told us is that Muslim New Yorkers must feel unsafe.
Well, let's
that
be
is
clear.
a horrible equation.
Horrible. Let's be clear. They weren't looking to make Jewish New Yorkers feel safe. They were looking to make Jewish New Yorkers feel scared
Yes.
in order to vote for Andrew Cuomo. It's only about him and his ego and his power. But yes, to divide people like that. And look, I feel disappointed. 1,000 rabbis signed this letter about Zohran, even though he's done so much work to reach out.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them criticized Andrew Cuomo for the hideously Islamophobic things he said. Or today, when Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Stephen friggin' Miller joined Team Cuomo.
In fact, Donald Trump said, what did he say? You're an idiot? What did he-
Stupid.
If you vote, if you're a Jewish person who
You
votes
know.
for Zohran Mamdani. Because Donald Trump's going to decide who the good and bad Jews are.
You know, thankfully, we've stood up to tyrants before. We're going to stand up to this one. And honestly, having a Muslim mayor, you know, I'm on Oud as a member of the Israeli Knesset and an Arab, you know,
We know Ayman Dawla,
Palestinian. So he said yesterday, what a beautiful thing if this city with so many Jews can elect its first Muslim mayor.
What do you think? What do you think the Jewish vote for him is going to look like? Because in the primaries, there were all these different polls. I saw a poll showing he was at 30-something, Cuomo was at 40-something. Then I saw another poll showing Cuomo ahead. I mean, anecdotally, from you are a person who travels within Jewish communities.
I mean, there's a lot of division in the Jewish
But he's
community,
got a
that's
chunk.
for
He's
sure.
got a big
I mean,
chunk.
at least a third of Jewish New Yorkers are voting for him today.
We had an 83-year-old Jewish New Yorker write a piece for us today saying why she's
saw
backing
that.
Zohran.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Brad, you talk about standing up the Trump administration, and you've been doing that a lot already with regards to ICE and their raids of New Yorkers. There have been reports that you're interested in running for Congress. If you choose to do something like that, what lessons?
Tonight's the night I think you should declare.
What lessons are you potentially taking?
The polls are closed, Brad. You got nothing to lose.
I know. I've been saying I'm just focused on helping Zohran win.
The polls are closed.
I'm going to need something new to say.
But what lessons?
Dan Goldman is watching the live stream and he wants to know, in New York's 10th district, will he be facing a primary challenge from a man named Brad Lander?
Look, what I think Zohran shows is that there's a hunger for change, that people want people who are going to stand up and fight, whether that's for those immigrants at 26 Federal Plaza, whether that's for a more affordable city, whether that's against Donald Trump when he sends troops here. So Zohran is inspiring a lot of us to stand up and fight.
So you're not going to declare tonight, fair enough. But let me just put Dan Goldman alongside Tom Swazi and Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer. Probably. Talk to our viewers about what they should make of Democrats, elected Democrats in New York, refusing to endorse the Democratic mayoral candidate. Blue no matter who, but except for Zohran Mamdani.
I mean, look, it's a big party, and we have primaries, and then after we have those primaries, you're supposed to endorse the Democrat. I've supported a lot of moderate Democrats,
yes.
And I expect moderate Democrats to endorse the progressive. It does seem that way. Now, there are some like, Pat Ryan, and let's give Governor Hochul credit. Yes. She endorsed him quickly. That's the party
finally came around.
And that's the party we need. It's got to be a party that runs from, Zohran and Bernie, to moderate Democrats who recognize it's a big chance. We got to support it.
Brad, we want to get you back when you declare your candidacy, but thank you for joining us tonight.
Great to
it's been a pleasure. It's a
Thanks for what you
historic
guys
night.
are doing. Congratulations, Zeteo. You're, looking really good.
We appreciate the support.
All right.
Well done.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Great to see you.
I think we can hold on to this mic because we've got another great guest joining us now. My colleague, my friend. I'm going to pull her this way. I think I see a very, very famous person, an award-winning actress, Cynthia Nixon's here with me and Prem. How are you? Here's your mic. You're live on Zeteo.
There you go.
You may have heard of Zeteo.
Thank you, I have.
You've been there from the beginning.
Thank you, I have, and I'm so thrilled that it exists, and I watch it every day.
Thank you so much. And people love watching you. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
I got to remind viewers, the first person to get Zohran Mamdani on Zeteo was Cynthia Nixon.
That
And
is
I'll be honest,
correct.
I was like, Zohran who? Oh, Mahmoud Mamdani son, he's out politics. You were like, he's got a great bill on Israeli
Yes,
settlers.
not on our dime, yes.
So how did you first come across Zohran Mamdani?
So I ran for governor in 2018, and the year that I ran, the first Democratic Socialist was elected to the New York State Senate. And the next cycle, 2 years later, I think 6 people ran, and Zohran was one of them.
Okay.
And we supported his candidacy, and we fell in love with him right away. And we stayed in touch with him with all of the amazing things he did. The Not on Our Dime bill, but also the hunger strike for the taxi workers.
I feel like Cynthia's a talent spotter. I feel like she's like,
when you have that much talent, you can see it in others.
Yeah, lovely, lovely.
Very kind, very kind.
I'm wondering, you've seen him, as you're saying, for so many years now. There's obviously a lot of people that are newly becoming acquainted with him, many people who love him, some people who viscerally do not. I'm curious, when you think about talking to people who might be skeptical about him, how do you want to tell them about how you view him? What do you view that's so good about him?
I think he's amazingly intelligent. I think he's amazingly hardworking. He listens, which is something that people who are meeting him from the first time often point out. And he is a person, unlike Andrew Cuomo, for example, who is really clear what his principles are, and he sticks to them. And there is nothing to be afraid of. This is like the warmest, the warmest, sanest, most inclusive person.
But I was told he's an angry Muslim socialist about to destroy New York City.
Yeah, I know.
Not the guy we know,
He
right?
went to Bank Street, his dad is a professor at Columbia. His mom makes movies.
Yeah.
I mean...
Okay, so let's talk about the real Nepo baby in the race.
Yes.
The son of Mario Cuomo.
Yes.
Former disgraced governor is running. You ran against him in the Democratic primary in 2018, if
Yes.
memory serves me correctly. If only people had gotten it right in 2018, we could have avoided a lot of tears.
We'd be standing next to a different governor right now.
There'd be like tens of thousands of New Yorkers still alive as to from COVID.
that's true.
But think about that. You lost the primary. You did not throw your toys out of the pram and say, I'm running as an independent against you. This guy lost in a landslide in June, and he's running now as the Trump-endorsed candidate to
Yes.
stop Mamdani. What do you make of
Yes.
You know Cuomo better than most. What do you make of his reasoning?
Well, when I lost, I had a job to go back to, and I think Andrew Cuomo does not.
Do you think Andrew Cuomo could do Broadway?
No. But you know, I think it's he was looking for an opening. He
Yes.
took it. It didn't work out. He kept pushing. But I think tonight
But he's
we
kind
will.
of destroyed his reputation, if he even had a reputation left.
I think his
And he took-
reputation was pretty much in tatters.
But he's made it worse, which is an achievement.
make it
like he's
worse.
ended the
He did
campaign
make it
so
worse.
Islamophobically, so in such a racist, bigoted manner.
And so much of people who were considering voting for her, or maybe even did. I mean, one of the strong things that he presented was, I'm going to fight Trump. Well, he ended up being Trump's candidate and parroting
Yeah.
so many of Trump's xenophobic ideas.
In fact, he went on Fox today and urged viewers to listen to Donald
true.
Trump and vote for him.
That's true.
Yes.
Insane.
I'm
Yes.
curious, Cynthia. A lot of people, when they look at Andrew Cuomo's decision to keep running, when they look at some of the billionaires who are choosing to back him, despite the very high likelihood we'll see, but the high likelihood that he does indeed lose, how do you sort of like rationalize that behavior? Like some people view it as like highly irrational to continue running. It seems like if nothing else to tarnish her legacy, if there is one. Like how do you, just from your perspective, view this decision making? Is it reactionary? Is it irrational? Is it something else? Like why?
I think it was his last shot, and he wanted to take it. And I think the establishment and the multi-millionaires and billionaires couldn't believe that with all the money that they had to spend, and all the fear-mongering, and all the, not only against a Muslim candidate, but a candidate who has been so out loud and proud for Palestinian rights and freedom and dignity. Surely they thought,
They were entitled
this
to
guy
that.
is defeatable.
Cynthia, we've got about 800,000 votes counted. He's got a 10-point lead. It's early still tonight. He's in the lead, Mamdani, as we expected. If he wins tonight, what happens next? Because it's not over, right? I was just talking to Brad Land. I was talking earlier to Dora Pekec, his press secretary. This is just, as Winston Churchill said, the end of the beginning. Right now, they're really going to come from once he's actually in power. Is that fair?
That is fair, but I mean, this is a person who mobilized 90,000 volunteers for his campaign.
They knocked on 3 million doors, Dora.
Who went 3 million doors, went from 2% to being the, undisputed front runner. So I think that yes, we all have to support him as we have supported him in this race. He will now be the mayor of New York, and we all have to support him. He has pledged incredible things, and we all have to help him get there. And the Democratic Party, most especially, has to stop pretending he doesn't exist.
One last question, India. The first time I interviewed you on Zeteo last, whatever it was, April, May, when we launched, we talked about Gaza. And we talked about how the Democratic Party had betrayed a lot of people on Gaza. Now you have a guy who is about to win, we think, maybe in the most Jewish city in the world outside of Tel Aviv.
Yes.
Running on an anti-Gaza genocide platform, hasn't run away from it, hasn't backed down, stuck to his principles. That must be quite inspiring.
It's very inspiring, and I think we also have to remember how many Jews in New York are fierce, devoted.
We just had Brad Lander on before.
Exactly. Mamdani supporters, and I think that one of the incredible superpowers that Zohran has is he is able to speak rationally about very charged, very emotional, very painful subjects, and that's what we need. We need to speak about Gaza. We need to speak about xenophobia. We need to speak about so many things,
Yes.
not just don't say gay. That's not a great platform. We need to be able to speak about things about which we have differences.
What I found so fascinating about the Cuomo campaign was they couldn't decide, is he a radical jihadist bringing Sharia law, or is he this guy who likes too many gay people and wants to decriminalize prostitution? Like, make up your mind, Cuomo.
Right, make up your mind, Cuomo. Is diversity a positive or a negative?
Yeah, well, he said it was a negative and then got the black guy wrong.
Yeah.
My friend Eugene Daniel be confused with Jonathan Capehart.
Yeah.
What a disaster. Well, I'm glad that you're here tonight to see perhaps the end of the Cuomo dynasty once and for all.
Yes.
Cynthia Nixon is here. She is a Zeteo contributor. She is one of the greats in Hollywood. Thank you so much,
Thank
Cynthia.
you.
Absolute pleasure.
Great
We're
to
going to
talk
catch
to
up
you.
with you again later tonight, I hope.
Thank you.
See ya.
So, we have polls are closed. Mamdani's in the lead. We can see up there Hasan Piker's on a screen behind us talking. You can see him right there talking to New York television. As I say, there are many races going on across the country. Ghazala Hashmi's already made history as the first Muslim woman statewide elected anywhere in the United States. She's the lieutenant governor in Virginia. Abigail Spanberg is the first woman governor. We're waiting on Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey. And there are multiple races happening tonight. Prem, you put your finger on it earlier. Is this a blue wave tonight? I know we love using these phrases, red wave, blue wave. Is Donald Trump going to wake up to a blue wave tomorrow?
Yes, of course. Obviously, we all know the same numbers right now, but based on trends, based on what we've seen in terms of how all these candidates seem to be outperforming, and not only expectations, but also previous election results from the past few years, it seems to be the case that there is a massive shift happening in the United States of America right now. Again, due in large part to how historically unpopular Donald Trump is, not only in terms of American presidencies, but in terms of his own career. Even after January 6th, he did not have this level of low disapproval. It is remarkable what we're seeing now, and I will tell you what, we're still waiting for a lot of results here. One other aspect I wanted to touch on that's been spoken with Cynthia, with Brad, with Nora, all of our guests so far have pinpointed one aspect of the Mamdani campaign that I think makes it distinct from a lot of other Democratic races across the country, which is that he is activating a lot of non and new voters. This is someone who is day and night, for as far as we can tell, until the finish line, pumping the gas. And some people are wondering, you know, it seems like he's on a good track. Why is he spending maybe 3 hours a day tops sleeping? One aspect of this that's so important, you were pinpointing this, which is that this is just the end of the beginning.
Yes.
If he gets elected tomorrow, he will face a very adversarial media environment, political environment. But if this is someone who can perform very well, if he can get to 53, 54, 55% in this win, if he wins, that is a mandate that is hard for people to deny.
Also, if he gets past 50%, it destroys the entire Bill Ackman, Elon Musk argument that if Curtis Sliwa, the Republican Red Beret candidate, if he had just pulled out, Cuomo would have consolidated the anti-Mamdani and they would win. If he beats 50%, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether Sliwa's in the race or not. It's a massive mandate. It undermines all of the arguments. I was on my phone earlier while Prem was talking. A lot of results coming in. I mentioned Abigail Spanberg, Prem, has won by 13 points. Virginia used to be a very close swing state. It's a Republican incumbent governor, Glenn Youngkin, who was term limited, very popular guy. And Winsome Earl Sears, the Republican candidate Trump refused to endorse her because she called him a phony a couple of years ago. She's lost badly. Here's this Attorney General's race. Jay Jones, who was in the middle of a texting scandal. He texted that he would piss on the graves of his Republican dead opponents. He said that there should be 2 bullets in the skull of a Republican state lawmaker. He's won as well. He's the Attorney General. And of course, I mentioned Ghazala Hashmi, a clean sweep in Virginia.
And again, that is in Virginia. I mean, what more can you say with Winsome Earl Sears? Win some, lose some. I don't know what more I can do with that.
You've been working on that one all night, waiting for that one. Win some, lose some. And of course, here's a little stat for you. If New Jersey and Virginia both go fully Democratic, that historically means that the Democrats are going to sweep at the midterms. In previous years, when both states have gone Democratic, it's a very good sign for Democrats. But that's why Republicans are gerrymandering, and that's why Prop 50 in California, and I have no idea if polls have closed in California, I assume not, because it's only 6:20. But in California, Gavin Newsom has a big ballot on the deck, Prop 50, which is about giving the California legislature the ability to redistrict, gerrymander, because right now the Californians have an independent system, but they're trying to push back against Texas and switch the system in time for 2026. So quite a big thing there in California.
Completely, yeah. I mean, it's remarkable to see these election results as they are, because so so often in the past 2 years especially, we're reminded how actually structurally undemocratic this country is.
Yes.
And even despite that, to see these potential blue waves rippling, that's remarkable. It really, I think, underscores how strong and stark the discontent against Trump and the Republican Party at large really is in the country.
Yeah, and I think what these votes tonight are going to show is are Democrats ready for a fight? Are they going to say, yeah, we are going to back Gavin Newsom? What Gavin Newsom's doing is anti-democrat. Let's be clear. It's going to give California 40. It's going to give Democrats in California 48 out of 52 seats. That's anti-democratic. But to quote the playground, they started it. And the question is, are Democrats willing to fight fire with fire?
Right.
That's the big question. I think we're going to see tonight they are. They're up for that fight. The base is furious.
Yeah, and I think a big reason this night is so important is because we've spent months and months of think pieces and podcast conversations of the idea that the base is angry, what that even means, who's the base, what's the base, will that mean anything when it comes to the ballot box? Tonight we will have answers to that question, and I think what is important is that there might be multiple conclusions. I think it could be very well true that it could be a blue wave election. That means a lot of Democratic candidates do well. That doesn't necessarily preclude more nuanced conclusions about what Zohran Mamdani means for the party, what Abigail Spanberger means for the party, and we'll get more of that tomorrow. But I don't think there's going to be any sort of countering to the strength of Zohran Mamdani by any means based on what we're seeing here today.
I think there's going to be, as we mentioned earlier, if you were watching the stream earlier, and thank you guys on YouTube, Instagram, Substack, thank you for watching. We're live right now. Thank you for watching us live here, as people are asking, are we live? Yeah, we're live. What I would say, and we said earlier, is that a lot of pundits are already cracking their knuckles, as Prem put it, trying to work out how we spin this to say it wasn't a big win for the socialist brown dude. Look at the CIA person in Virginia. Look at the pilot from the Navy in New Jersey. Look at what's happening in California. Prem, what would you say in response to that? If you're right, if you're waking up tomorrow, how do you unpack the narratives? Where does Zohran, where does the anti-Trump hashtag resistance fit in?
Yeah, I think, again, it's early. We know the same numbers that you do. But let's say Zohran Mamdani...
Zohran hasn't won yet. Let's just keep adding that in.
We're not jinxing anything. We're not saying one way or another.
He's 10 points up at the moment, and that's with about 1 million votes counted out of
this is perhaps maybe early mail-in voting, which might skew a certain way.
It's 9:20. Just to put it in context before you finish your answer.
Yeah.
At 9:15, 4 years ago, Eric Adams had been declared the winner at this point. But that was a two-way race with Sliwa. He won by a landslide. This is a very different race. Sorry.
Sure. No, that's okay. I think, again, we only know so much. Let's say Zohran Mamdani does very well tomorrow, as perhaps some are projecting. Let's say Mike Sherrill does as well as Abigail Spanberger does. You know, Democrats in various different places all doing well. What's important to consider is, of course, how they're performing in regard to past elections, also what their expectations were in their varying districts in their states. Are they swinging voters? Are they bringing new voters out? Or are they simply sort of changing the
This is amazing moment.
usual flip back?
Mira Nair is right here.
If there's unpopularity, those things swing back.
You know what?
We have
Monsoon
a
Wedding is
special
one of my
guest right
famous
now.
movies.
Let me pause
Can I give you a
because we have
microphone?
very
We're live
special
on
guest
air.
right
Can we
now.
talk for
One
2
moment.
minutes? Just about movies. About movies.
Okay.
About movies. Can we grab a microphone?
Nice to
Guys,
meet you.
if you don't know who this is, I'm not going to introduce her as anything to do with politics. She is one of the best directors. She made one of my favorite movies, Monsoon Wedding. I loved Monsoon Wedding. It's such a pleasure to meet you in person. By the way, she also happens to be the mother of perhaps the next mayor of New York. How are you doing tonight?
I am the producer of The Candidate.
Yes, you are the producer of The Candidate. In fact, he worked for you, didn't he? On a movie.
Yeah, he worked for many people. Now he's working for you and the whole world.
Wow. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling like I wanted to get over with it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people want to get it over with.
I just want surety, and I want to cuddle him, and I want to really, he's worked so hard, and I just think that it's a new day that awaits us all.
Oh, really? And I've got to ask, when he was making movies with you?
Only one.
One. What was it, Queen Cutway, right?
Yes.
When he was doing that, what did you think he was going to end up doing in life?
I don't think of ending up. I think of beginning.
Yes,
Yeah,
well said.
No ending up.
And what movie are you...
I'm never worried about him.
Okay, let's park Zohran. What movie are you working on right now?
I'm working on a film on Amrita Shergill, the great pioneer Indian and Hungarian artist.
Fantastic.
Sort of the subcontinental Frida Kahlo. And it's taken me 4 years, and now we're finally saying action.
Fantastic. We cannot wait for it. And what do you make of the storytelling in New York right now? Could you make if somebody came to you with this screenplay 10 years ago, 20 years, would you say this is an unrealistic story?
I just came to say hello to you. I'm not giving you a whole big interview.
Fine, no big interviews. I'd love to say hello to you. We are going to do a big interview at some point now that we've met. But for now, I'm just going to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are big fans of your work, and we're excited to see what happens tonight. And it's lovely to see you. And please say hello to Mahmoud, who I interviewed 10 years ago on Al Jazeera. So now I can say I've interviewed father and son. Please say hello.
The whole family.
The whole family. Right. Well, no, this is not an interview.
This is a preview. This is
just a preview.
He's very intentional with his words.
Lovely to see you there. And this is my colleague Prem, and that's thousands of people watching at home.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Well, that's a surprise. You're on a live stream with Zeteo, and the candidate's mother, who happens to be an acclaimed director, just walks over and says hi. Not bad. We didn't
90 HQ, baby.
We didn't get into Salam Bombay. We didn't talk Denzel Washington. You got to look up your Mira Nair on your IMDb.
We need to pencil this in.
We got to pencil it in. I got to say to you, by the way, I mean, she's not here now, but let's just make a very serious point here. They want us to believe that Zohran Mamdani, the man who was at a gay nightclub at 1 a.m. at the weekend, whose mother is a Hindu Indian film director, is a secret radical jihadist. That's what they want us to believe.
I just think Zohran Mamdani has shown, I think, more than any other political candidate in the past decade at least, what it really means to put forth an earnest effort towards genuine, sincere coexistence, genuine, sincere efforts to make a big tent, such that you maintain your convictions, but you still invite people in with their humanity. That I might disagree with you, but I still care about you as a person and what I can do to take care of you.
He's dealt with hecklers so well.
He always says, I want you to afford your rent too.
Yeah.
We might disagree on Israel Palestine, but I want you to afford to stay in the city with me.
It's such a good line. It's such a good line. Hey, Kamala Harris, as you pointed out on Twitter, didn't use it with her hecklers from Michigan. AOC did it on CNN recently. She said, I don't care if you're MAGA. I want to make sure you have health care. And Mamdani does the same line. I don't care if you don't like me. I just want you to be able to afford rent in the city. It's a great line. It's funny that it's only the socialists who are doing this. Supposedly, it's the left-wing ideologues who are actually reaching out to MAGA voters and independents and saying, you know what? Let's all get in one tent together.
I think that, we have another election that's been called here tonight. Jumaane Williams will be the next public advocate.
He is the sitting. Jumaane Williams is the current incumbent public advocate. We had him on the show a few months ago.
And Mark Levine, comptroller.
He's taken over from Brad Lander, controller. It's a controversial debate. Is it comptroller or controller? Just a word on Jumaane Williams. Jumaane Williams is a great advocate for vulnerable people in the city. Watch my interview with him from a few months ago on Mehdi Unfiltered. He endorsed Zohran very early on, before the primaries.
That's right.
He was early on this case. He's been re-elected. Some people talked about him as a deputy mayor or running for an office himself. He's been re-elected. We're seeing other votes coming in right now from across the place. And I think what we're really, really waiting for, obviously, is the New York mayoral results. We don't know when it'll be. Interestingly, Fox News, I can see this because they're over my shoulder. We're actually broadcasting behind Fox News. Hilarious. Fox News are projecting that Mikey Sherrill has won New Jersey.
There you go.
So that's interesting.
There you go.
So that was a very narrow race. What's the guy's name she was running against?
Jack Ciattarelli.
Jack Ciattarelli.
Yeah.
Italian, American.
Ciattarelli.
I'm being told by experts on Italian names that it's Ciattarelli.
Ciattarelli.
Jack Ciattarelli. Look, I butcher everyone's name, butcher mine.
We've been butchered many times.
Well, you don't actually need to know his name because he lost, so he can disappear into obscurity. He's a former congressman. Trump endorsed him and he lost. So I don't know how Trump's going to spin that. New Jersey was a blue state. Phil Murphy was the incumbent governor. Mikey Sherrill is now going to be the next governor. She is a congresswoman from the state of New Jersey. She's a former Navy pilot, and she's going to be part of this narrative which says, don't look at Mamdani, look at the CIA person and the Navy pilot. Which, to be fair, these are big wins.
Yeah,
women,
absolutely.
Women, ex-military, ex-intel, winning key states.
Yes, I think what's a helpful analog here is 2018, where a similar dynamic happened, where we had this wave of military-affiliated, national security-affiliated candidates do really well, but also people like the Squad. And that year was another sort of reaction to Donald Trump, a big blue wave, and all those candidates have maturated into who they are today. You have Alyssa Slotkin, you have AOC, and you can see maybe perhaps which ones have a bigger impact on American politics today. So you can think of it today, and maybe perhaps, if not a similar lens, at least a helpful analog in terms of how we might come to see tonight and moving forward.
So, we're going to take a break, but I've got to show the viewers this. We're going to take a short break, but have a look at the screen behind us. There is Curtis Sliwa, who is the Republican candidate, and he has, so far, 8% of the vote. And he is hated by a lot of people on the right because they wanted him to get out of the race. What they underestimated is that Sliwa does not like Mamdani, but he hates Andrew Cuomo.
The passion is unbelievable. He was often attacked. We have a guest coming just soon here, but I just one point here. Curtis Sliwa has been on the brunt end of Republicans locally, nationally, on the statewide, over and over again. He has stood firmly in his shoes,
Firmly in the red beret.
I am not listening to billionaires. I'm not listening to outsiders. I'm here to run for the people that nominate me. Which, you know what? That's fair. Andrew Cuomo could take a lesson from that.
Yes, he can. Instead, he decided to run a negative campaign in which he decided to weaponize anti-Semitism. As Brad Lander said, we have another great guest to talk about. We were going to take a break, but fuck breaks. There's too much going on here. We got Simone Zimmerman, host of Beyond Israelism on Zeteo. Activist, come in, Simone. Join us on the live stream.
Here she is.
Simone is here.
What's up?
Show us your t-shirt. That's impossible. I was told that New York Jews are all scared of Zohran.
Let me tell you, there have been hundreds and hundreds of Jews across the city. Perhaps I might even say thousands of us on the doors in every single borough, knocking doors, turning out our neighbors. This room is filled with Jewish volunteers. That could not be.
All a lie.
I wouldn't say it was a lie, but I would say it is a gross exaggeration and misrepresentation of what's been happening in our community.
Simone, you are no stranger to your identity being weaponized on behalf of a government that's committing human rights violations in your name. How does it feel right now, after years and years of being a part of this struggle, to see maybe perhaps tides turning with how Zohran Mamdani has, we'll see how he does, but even in the primary, for him to win so resoundingly, how do you feel things have maybe changed in the past 10 years?
Well, first of all, I mean, the Washington Post just reported a couple weeks ago that over 60% of U.S. Jews believe that Israel has committed war crimes in Gaza, and over 40% would call it a genocide. So what we're talking about right now is a massive sea change, and I feel pretty confident in saying that I think we're going to see the results tonight of the Jewish vote for Zohran being somewhere in between those numbers, which shows a really significant number of Jews in New York City support a mayor who has a principled position on Palestinian rights that's also consistent with his commitment to equality and freedom and rights and dignity for people across the city. So, I mean, for too long we've heard, certainly there is a constituency of Jewish voters who are going to say, you know, his position on Israel is a deal breaker for me. Also, by the way, I'll just say I have a friend who visited the city a couple weeks ago. She told me she was talking to her Jewish relatives on the Upper East Side, and she said, you know, she's been watching the race from across the country. She's a young Jew. She's absolutely so excited about Zohran, and she's talking to her relatives, and she was like, I had to become an expert in his policies overnight because they've just been fed so much misinformation that I was just fact-checking them over and over and over again, and nothing that they were saying was true. So it's really alarming to think about how much misinformation and fear-mongering is targeting certain communities, but so many people have seen through it and aren't buying it. I mean, I've had such an incredible experience being a volunteer on the ground. You just see people who are excited to turn out for Zohran, not just because of his position on Palestinian freedom, but because the position that we hold on Palestinian freedom is consistent with our commitment to dignity and to a better life for all people in this city. And it's not just that we're not making the exception for Palestine, it's that the commitment to Palestinian freedom is consistent for us.
How does it feel for this opinion that you were sharing, and the fact that it seems that 40 to 60%, we'll see, but Jewish people have divergent views? How does it feel that most politicians do not represent the fact that there are even divergent views?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's ridiculous because every community is ideologically diverse, and the Jewish community is no different than that. It's really, really insulting, honestly. I mean, Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams, for that matter, have run the most disgusting, racist, fear-mongering campaigns. I mean, there's so much, the racism and Islamophobia, I mean, they've been scraping the bottom of the barrel, and the way they've been using Israel, it's beyond charity at this point.
So, Beyond Israel you're not just someone who's a critic of Israel, you're a leftist, you're a progressive.
Yes.
Did you ever think you would see a candidate like this so soon after the return of Trump? The Democrats actually managed to produce and pick a candidate in a primary who speaks for a lot of values people on the left. It almost feels hard to believe.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think it just speaks to Zohran has done something really, really amazing with this campaign.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
NBC News is projecting Zohran Mamdani is the next mayor of New York City. Not all the networks have called it. We're surrounded. I'm looking at the Fox screen. They haven't called it. But NBC News is saying Zohran Mamdani projected winner. We're here in the hall. They haven't called it here in New York, that's for sure.
We'll hold our breath for a moment.
We'll hold our breath, but one major network
It's not over till
has
it's
called
over.
it. Jamaal Bowman's walking past. We're going to get him back in a second.
What's up, Jamaal?
Well, let's say NBC's correct.
Yes.
Simone, how do you feel?
I mean, we're making history tonight. No matter what happens, we are making history. We've had, as of yet, over 100,000 volunteers across the city have knocked doors for Zohran. I mean, I can just say that I've never had an experience like this as a volunteer in any political campaign ever. The joy, the palpable joy across the city over the last year. It is the one thing. I mean, people across the world are watching this tonight because
I don't live in New York and I'm watching the joy and I'm like, I came into town today. You can feel it.
I mean, there are literally people across the country and across the world who are just waiting to get a little bit of hope tonight because what this campaign has done is speak so deeply to people's hunger for change, for principle, and for an affirmative vision of something better. And the fact that Zohran is somebody who's a fighter, who's committed to his principles, who isn't going to just back down in the face of a, corrupt democratic establishment, who wants to actually fight for something. We know he's a person who has been fighting for all of his years in public life, and that's something. And he does it also like, it's not just the smile on his face. He does it with that you can feel the deep, deep love for this city, a city where he's been campaigning in communities that have been ignored for so long, bringing people together. He's actually embodying like a commitment to a life in a diverse, multiracial, joyful city. And it's like, it's so fun to be part of something like that. Like the energy is just good here.
The energy's amazing. Simone, thank you for bringing some energy to us as well.
Yeah,
thank you.
for having me.
And by the way, please do check out Simone's amazing podcast for Zeteo, Beyond Israelism, with some great conversations.
She's spoken with Hasan Piker, Mahmoud Khalil.
They're calling it here.
And we have coming in.
I don't know what they're calling here.
Cheering.
People are getting excited.
People might be refreshing their phones right now. We'll see.
We're gonna.
This is amazing.
The volume is increasing.
Really, really amazing.
Right now, we have the local networks talking about the lead increasing.
Let's grab Jamaal. You want to jump in?
We're hearing more
Let's go.
cheering.
We're gonna do a player transfer. I'm bringing Jamaal.
Simone, thank
Simone
you so
Zimmerman,
much.
thank you so much. And we're gonna
See you, Simone.
It's crazy here. Simone's leaving, but another Zeteo voice, another friend of the network. Former Congressman Jamaal Bowman, your microphone.
What's up, sir?
So, has he won? NBC are calling it for him.
I hope so. I mean, for me, man, I'm mad anxious. I'm nervous. I want everyone to call it, not just one.
CNN have called it also.
Okay.
And NBC have called it.
Let's freaking go, baby!
You called it before anyone.
Listen, okay? I was on a Zoom call with Mehdi talking about our Zeteo podcast.
I'm gonna put it up.
He needs to pull it up.
I'm gonna put it up,
Talking
baby.
about the
I'm gonna
podcast.
pull up your text.
And we're talking about Zohran. I told Mehdi Zohran's going to win. He was down 8 in the primary.
Look at Adrian.
Yeah, baby! Yeah, baby! Yeah, baby! Yeah! That's how we do it, baby! That's how we do it! Let's do it, baby! Let's do it!
Against the interests
Hey!
of the billionaire elite
Let's
of
go!
the city against the most famous last name in New York
Mic
State
drop. I don't
politics.
need to say anything else. This is amazing.
This is amazing.
Listen, this is.
It's a truly historic night. We're in Brooklyn. We're at the Paramount. It's packed, and they've just called it the network for Zohran Mamdani. And you want to hear something cool? We're right behind the Fox News team. I don't know how they feel.
It cannot be underscored. Come on, give us some facts.
How do you feel?
I'm overjoyed. I'm overwhelmed.
Give the candidates coming in.
I know Zohran will probably allude to this, but I'm thinking about decades and decades and decades. Labor organizing, suffrage organizing, abolition organizing, housing justice. So many organizers throughout American history to push for human rights and justice and a democracy that works for everyone. Zohran stands on all of their shoulders. Shout out to JVP, shout out to DSA, shout out to WFP, shout out to New York Communities for Change, shout out to Make the Road Action, shout out to all of the organizing that has been happening to help me and so many others get into office.
This is insane.
This is incredible.
You have to understand.
Incredible.
Billionaires lined up to stop this guy. Donald Trump lined up to stop this guy. The Cuomo family lined up to stop this guy. And Curtis Lewa tried to.
Donald Trump was tweeting. Elon Musk was tweeting. He had the entire right-wing MAGA racist world against him, and he is standing strong. Young, Muslim, South Asian, Indian, pro-Palestinian, New York City, the city that never sleeps, the best city in the world, baby. Best city in the world.
Well, it does
if you
feel tonight like the best city.
listen, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Democrats around the country take notice.
Jamaal, he's on 49 point. According to the AP, he's on 49.6% of the vote. He's almost at 50%.
Almost at 50%. Almost at 50%. Hasan Piker in the building. Hasan Piker in the building. Hasan's been ducking me. I want a weightlifting contest. You're ducking me.
Oh, really? You're gonna call me out like that? Really? That's crazy.
Hey,
That's crazy.
they was like, he won't condemn Hasan Piker. Remember that shit? He won't condemn Hasan Piker.
Brought it up twice.
How do you feel about a socialist mayor of New York?
I feel electric. I feel amazing. I feel like being uncompromising in your values, whether it be about touching that third rail of speaking out against Israel, or primarily focusing on affordability in your campaign strategy, turns out very effective. It's something that I know you know. It's something that I have spoken to every fucking Democrat about. Can I curse on Zeteo? I'm sorry. It's something that I've fucking talked about. Every Democrat that's like, oh, why do we keep losing? I'm like, this is why. And now I can just point to Zohran and say, hey, he did it and he won.
That's
against all odds.
You know what they called it during the Cold War? The threat of a good example.
Yes.
Right? They don't want him to succeed.
Yes.
Jamaal, how worried are you that they're going to throw the kitchen sink at him now?
I'm always worried
Cut
about
funding,
Zohran because they've been throwing everything at him already. That's why we got to be there for him, surround him, uplift him, pray for him.
You're going to be in the administration?
Oh, I have no idea.
He's gonna start cracking skulls. Jamal, you are so big. You are so strong.
We have the big boy stream right now.
Just this scene right now is killing people around America.
It's crazy.
Right now, Bill Ackman is writing a very long
At
tweet.
Zohran Mamdani headquarters.
Hey,
Jamaal Bowman.
Smoking on the Bill Ackman pack tonight. Smoking on the Bill Crackman.
We're taking on all right-wing, fake MAGA tough guys. Hasan and Jamaal coming to your town. Let's get on the bench press.
He's not even from
Let's
New
get it
York.
popping. It don't matter. We gonna make it
I
work.
illegally voted for Zohran Mamdani 65 times. Get at me. Get at me.
That's right.
No helping, bro.
That's
He's
right.
He's won now.
He's
He's won now. But now socialist is not a dirty word anymore.
you say?
Socialist is not a dirty word anymore.
Well, that's why they jumped to communists, right? You gotta be communist.
Yeah, you gotta
Socialist. They immediately jumped to communist. Socialist not a dirty word anymore. Democrats, listen up. Take some lessons. Don't get on your Ezra Klein nonsense. Don't let Ezra Klein analyze what happened here.
They won't. What are you going to do tomorrow when people say, but Mikey Sherrill won in New Jersey and Abigail Spanberger won in Virginia? What are you going to say?
Well, this is the other pushback, right? This is all a referendum on Trump and fascism in America as well. Because Democrats across the Big Ten have won in different places all over the country. So that's something to celebrate as well.
Oh, yeah.
But let's not, we cannot undermine or play down what Zohran and his team have accomplished here. I mean, he's polling at 1%.
Yes.
No one thought he had a chance.
Not me.
Okay? And he
I did it.
And he ran an excellent campaign. He's obviously an exceptional candidate.
You believed in him, Jamaal. I have a text from Jamaal where he says, "I fucking told you so."
That was primary.
Primary, yeah.
Listen, hopefully this is now about a vision of a new democracy, new possibilities, hope and joy and humanity in our politics. That's what we need.
On the subject of humanity, Hasan, I've got to ask the question. You and I and others have been facing an explosion of Islamophobia in recent weeks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know, no idea. Nobody wants to deport us.
Yeah.
Seriously though, a Muslim is the mayor of New York City. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel pretty good. I've never really cared much about like demographic representation until I saw a 34-year-old Muslim socialist run for office, and I was like, damn, that feels pretty fucking good. And then very quickly I realized, oh my God, it feels pretty bad. Because when they were attacking him, it feels like they were attacking me.
Yeah.
And then they started attacking me.
They literally did. You were invoked at multiple debates.
How did you react when they said, "Do you condemn?"
Oh, I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen because guess what? All these fucking dumbass billionaires are extremely online. This is the most Twitter fucking focused presidency of all time. Get the fuck off Twitter and start doing good governance is what I say to these dipshits, but they are so slammed into their fucking phones and they're just like, oh, I hate this guy. I hate this fucking guy. It's like, I'm a Twitch streamer. You shouldn't know me. You should not know what I represent. You shouldn't know what I represent. Look who it is.
Oh my God! Oh, now we're gonna cause some real trouble. Did he vote 65 times? We got Mahmoud Khalil is here. Mahmoud Khalil is here, and he voted 5 times.
Jamaal Bowman.
He voted illegally 5 times.
It's too much. It's too controversial.
Mahmoud Khalil, how do you feel tonight? How do you feel about New York?
I don't know how anyone feels today. Like this campaign proves what politics actually is. Rooted in justice.
We got the public advocate. Oh, congratulations. Jumaane Williams is here.
We shook up the world.
He shook up the world.
We shook up the world.
You were one of the earliest people to endorse Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah.
What did you see that others didn't see?
I saw what absolutely has to be the future of the Democratic Party, giving people something to vote for, not something to vote against. We soundly rejected the politics of people like Andrew Cuomo who tried to make it as ugly as possible. Out with the old, in with the new way of making people feel safer and living more affordably across this country. Good things are happening.
Jamaal just said that we have to be there, quote, you guys to back up Mamdani because they're going to come for him now.
Absolutely.
You're the public advocate. You're in government. What do you have to do to protect your man now?
Well, one, my job is to make sure we're moving the city in the right way. And if we're not, I may have to give him a little nudge now and then. So that's part of my job.
Yeah.
But to be clear, we're going to have a partner who believes in this stuff, who's not just campaigning on things. He was campaigning at 1%.
Yes.
So back then, it wasn't popular when he was doing it. But he believed in it, and people believed in it. And we have to make sure it comes to fruition. Because a lot of people out there, billionaires, people like Trump, people like Cuomo, unfortunately, Eric Adams
How
wanted to
worried
fail.
are you that we've just increased the likelihood of troops turning up in New York?
Well, unfortunately, Trump is not a very bright person. People think he is. So I think that was going to happen regardless. It's a matter of if but not when. But this is New York. We are not going to just back down with federal troops in our city. What we're going to show is unlike them, there's going to be no enemies list. We're not going to be talking about mass deportation. We're going to be figuring out how we govern for everyone, including people who are viewed as outside. We're going to bring everybody in. This is what this country is about, what this city is about.
What do you think Democrats' lessons are they going to take from this? National Democrats.
Well, they didn't learn the lesson the last time, so I'm really hoping they learn it this time. Stop doing politics as usual. Stop sending the same messages with the same message.
What is both of your message, Jamaal Bowman, Jumaane Williams, to Chuck Schumer, who wouldn't even say who he voted for today?
I mean, I try to be easy, but Chuck, it wasn't leadership. We need leadership at this moment. We need courage at this moment. And if you can't display that, how are we going to beat back down? That's what I'm saying.
Chuck, what do you say to Chuck Schumer?
So I want to say, before I say that, I want to say something about Islamophobia. Because as a black man, when I see the attacks on Zohran and Muslims around the world, it hurts me personally on a personal level as a black man, because I've dealt with that my entire life. And I know hate and ignorance is rooted in miseducation. I need for the people out there in the world to get much more educated on what Islam is, what Muslims are, and to understand that all Muslims aren't terrorists, which is crazy that I gotta say that, but let me just say
They're calling the mayor a terrorist.
It's unbelievable. Read a few books, please. All brown people are not your enemy. We've been raised on, unfortunately, in the caste system and white supremacy, and that has us divided and miseducated. That's why Trump and fascists are going after education. We all need to fight like hell to save public education in our country and make sure people are educated on what socialism really is, what Islam really is, and don't mix up brown people like I did recently at an event where I mixed up someone who speaks Urdu and Bangla and Arabic. There's a difference there, yo. We need education.
I forgive you. And when you're Chancellor of the Education System, you're going to come back and talk to Zeteo, right? When you're the New York Chancellor of Education?
Hey, those conversations are happening.
They're happening.
They're just rumors.
They're happening. Jamaal, thank you so much. Wow. I'm going to get rid of this microphone. I'm going to give you that.
Rush. That has all happened since
we just saw, what time is it? We just saw
9:48.
We just saw here on the Zeteo stream, Jamaal Bowman, Hasan Piker, Jumaane Williams, Mahmoud Khalil all turn up to talk to us about this historic night. I'm already losing my voice. It's not even 10 p.m. and I'm already losing my voice. But what do you make of what we've seen so far? The crowd is much bigger than it was. Yes. Andrew, how you doing? Yes, how you doing? This is one of the brains behind, let me give you a mic. This is one of the brains, Andrew Epstein, behind the Mamdani campaign. How you feel tonight?
Surreal, incredible.
We're gonna put this up there.
Surreal, incredible, hopeful, inspired. I mean, you know, I was the second employee on this campaign just over 12 months ago.
Weren't you there when we did the interview?
I was there. It was Zohran and I.
Yes.
Just the two of us rolling around. That was it.
Yes,
that was
December
it.
2024.
Started from the bottom. December 2024.
You were at 1%,
polling at 1%, barely, as Zohran always says, 1% is generous.
Then rounding up.
And I just want to say from the beginning of this, the platform, the voice that Zeteo provides, that you both do, it's essential for the ability of candidates who are trying to break the mold to do something different in politics, to have that platform, to have that exchange from day one when nobody would take us seriously. It means a lot.
We tried.
How do you reflect on what it has meant to build from less than 1% to now? What has that taken literally day in and day out? Because a lot of people would try to cast this as an anomaly, as something that, oh, that's nice, but that's not where the party really is. How can you explain what it means to build this?
You know, what's incredible, I was reflecting on this about how this is exactly how Zohran drew it up. He said we were going to run on an ambitious but achievable cost of living agenda. We were going to speak directly to the crisis in the lives of working class people. We were going to build a new coalition of Muslim and South Asian voters, of working class voters, of renters, of people who had tuned out of the political process, and we were going to run every single day of this campaign for 12 months like it was the final 48 hours, every single day. And he just stayed on it day after day. You know, I remember early days of going around the subway, nobody would really know who he was. But when I knew something was starting to change, was not when people would recognize him on the subway, but when they would go, oh, Zohran, freeze the rent, fast and free buses,
the key,
universal childcare.
Okay,
right? And
okay. Andrew, tell us who came up with it.
Zohran Mamdani.
Just the slogan. Fast and free buses, free childcare.
You know, there was obviously first of all, El Biscar Church, longtime chief of staff, policy director, has been with Zohran since the moment he set foot in elected office. But it was really the two of them identifying this central crisis is what we're going to run on, and giving people three things to start with. Three things that government could do.
I'm going to do a shameless plug. I wrote a book called Win Every Argument. I said you need to have 3 three things.
Three
the rule of
things.
three.
Rule of
and
three.
he nailed it.
And people have to see themselves in those
Donald
policies.
Trump had it, remember? Ban Muslims, build a wall. Everyone remembers it. No one remembers Hillary Clinton's policy platform.
Exactly
so
right.
you nailed it there. I gotta ask though,
Yeah.
the more time you spent with Zohran,
did
you start looking like him?
I know today is a little bit. This tie, he does have a polka dot tie.
Zohran's cousin is here.
That's just like a
That's very
white guy
flattering.
You got it.
It's very
Like the
flattering.
beard,
I
every part of
appreciate it.
I'm going to ask you the question I've asked everyone else tonight.
Yeah.
This is as Winston Churchill put it, it's the end of the beginning.
That's
It's not
exactly
the beginning
right.
of the end. What happens next? What are you ready for?
Earlier today we crossed 3 million doors knocked over the course of this campaign across the 5 boroughs. More than 100,000 volunteers. Those people are not going away. We are not telling them to stand down. We are not saying it's
like Obama
not
in
for
08.
a minute.
So it begins.
Tomorrow it begins. This agenda is only as good as our ability to deliver on it. It's achievable, but it is not easy. And we are going to be calling on the people of New York City to stay mobilized, to stay active, and be with this mayor every step of the way, not just to deliver this agenda, but to stand up to what we know is coming from this White House.
And not just the White House. Bill Ackman, the billionaire class, Elon Musk, got a message for them?
Your money didn't work. I mean, at the end of the day, what did it do?
Yeah.
You flooded people's airwaves with bile, with Islamophobic and racist messaging. You tried to make people fear and distrust each other. And love overcame it. An agenda overcame it. Excitement about the city.
When AOC beat Crowley, she had that line, right? You've got the money, we've got the people.
That's right.
Which Ryan Grimm made the title of his
We've
book.
got the people. Shout out Ryan Grimm.
Ryan is somewhere here
Shout
doing a
out
live
Ryan
stream.
Grimm.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the anti-Semitism stuff is going to go away now, or continue to be used as a cudgel to beat him with?
I think it depends on the way in which people are leveling the charge. There is undoubtedly real fear, real concern, good faith concern when you don't know a candidate or you've heard the most terrible things about him. And I think for most Jewish New Yorkers, when they have come to know Zohran either over the course of this campaign or when they come to know him as mayor, they're going to find that he is a mayor for every single person in the city. If it's a bad faith attack, if it's about driving people apart, if it's about trying to silence and shut up a moral critique of U.S. foreign policy, he is just the mayor of New York City, but it is also okay for a mayor and a candidate to call it like they see it. And that was one of the powers of this campaign.
Prem?
Firstly, what a refreshing message to hear from someone that works in politics for once. You talked about the message to the billionaires. What is your message, though, to the broader political establishment? It is not absent from this room that 2 of New York senators, Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer, both not just New York senators, but the leader of the Democratic Party on the Senate side, the person who is in charge of electing more Democrats in the Senate, Kirsten Gillibrand, neither endorse Zohran Mamdani. So what do you think this evening, what is the message to the broader political establishment and the Democratic Party especially?
We're ready to deliver on this agenda. I mean, regardless of the decision that Senator Schumer made in relation to this campaign, the truth is that when Zohran came into office as a young Democratic socialist who had taken out an incumbent, he worked with Senator Schumer. He brought Senator Schumer into the coalition that delivered transformative taxi cab relief and relieved this debt that had been crushing taxi cab drivers. So they're going to draw the lessons they draw. We're going to run at this agenda full steam ahead, and we're going to show that a different kind of politics is possible.
So your man has just crossed, Zohran has crossed 50%. He has a majority of the vote. Zohran Mamdani has a majority of the vote.
A majority.
Tell us about why that matters.
Not just a majority of a vote, but a majority in a historic turnout of voters. Eclipsing, I don't know where it's going to land, presidential level turnout in an off-year election.
A municipal election.
And here's the
Over
thing.
1.8-ish, and it's only 60% counted so far. That is
We're going to
remarkable.
drive it up. And what's so meaningful about that is because of the clarity and consistency of Zohran's message, people know what they were voting for.
Yeah.
Now they know what
It
to
also
expect.
screws over the right-wing messaging that if Sliwa had just pulled out, Cuomo would have won. Well, not on those numbers.
Not on those numbers.
We're looking at 50.5 for Zohran, 41.4 for Cuomo, and 7.2 for Red Beret Sliwa.
And we have 4/10 of the vote still to go. 40% more still
He's
to
going to
go.
cross 1 million votes.
This is remarkable.
Andrew, thank you for your time. Andrew
My
is
pleasure.
the comms director
Thank you.
for the campaign. Last question.
Comms director in the primary, creative director.
Creative director.
Thank you.
Tell me this, last question.
Yes.
Why did you say, I'm joining this guy?
You know, I keep this as quick as possible, but I met Zohran when he was first running for Assembly. I was running the campaign of now Assemblymember Emily Gallagher. We came into office at the same time. I was the chief of staff. I saw what he made possible in Albany as a freshman, as an insurgent left-wing.
Can we get Tish James? She just leaned to me and said, I love you.
People talked about his record being close to Albany and delivered groundbreaking policy, hundreds of millions of dollars, and changed the political dynamic in Albany, and now he's going to be mayor. I saw that early on. You know, there's truly, he's incredible. I've been saying so many words about this campaign for 13 months now, and all I'm left with is just admiration.
He's getting Tish James.
Thank you so much for the time. He puts it quite simply. Zohran Mamdani tonight is being, as you say, incredible.
Stay tuned, stay mobilized.
Andrew, thank you so much.
My
Have a
pleasure.
great
Thank
night.
you so
Get some sleep eventually.
Yeah.
We'll give you that. We're waiting. So while Andrew was talking, over there, you can't see her, is Tish James, the Attorney General of the great state of New York, early Mamdani backer in the primaries.
Indeed.
She just waved at me, so maybe we can get her on. We're going to get some producers to try and get the AG. Can you hear me? I'm losing my voice. I'm losing my voice.
You're doing amazing.
You're doing better than me.
I mean,
You're pacing yourself.
Pacing. I think we just have to underscore what really just happened. I know many of you are coming from all over the world. Again, thank you wherever you are. We appreciate you joining us. What just happened is against all odds, against the entire political establishment.
This shouldn't be happening.
The media.
This shouldn't be happening.
None of
this should be happening.
Like their playground against Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Stephen Miller.
Let me say this. The billionaires spent a ton of money to stop Zohran Mamdani. And tonight is not just a defeat for Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. It's a defeat for Bill Ackman. It's a defeat for Reed Hastings. It's a defeat for Michael Bloomberg. It's a defeat for James Murdoch. It's a defeat for the Home Depot guy. It's a defeat for the Walmart woman. It's a defeat for Airbnb. It's a defeat for DoorDash. It's a defeat for all the billionaires who put all that money down, and the 34-year-old socialist beat them all.
What more can you say? What more can you say?
Oh, Naomi Klein is here!
And the cherry on top,
Let's get a microphone for Naomi. Step
Right
into our studio. Naomi Klein is here. When did you get to New York, Naomi?
Yesterday.
Fantastic. Naomi was one of the earliest people to say this guy had it. What did you see in Zohran Mamdani?
I mean, it is true that I talked to him on November 18th, right after Trump's election.
Wow.
And we had an hour conversation at the request of my friend, Rajiv Shakura, who is, a DSA area, also works for the UAW, my own research assistant. And he said, just talk to this guy because he's at 1%. Sorry, Raj, I'm telling the truth. We're like, he doesn't have a chance, but we think we can get some issues out. And we had this amazing conversation about why people had voted for Trump, in areas that were black and brown, that had never voted for him before. And, sorry.
Take a drink.
That's all right.
It's super noisy in here, so we're all trying to save our voices. All right? We're going to talk. Naomi's going to save her voice. We're going to track down Tish James at some point.
And I believe I actually just saw Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez also walk in.
Well, we'll try and grab AOC as well, who's wondering.
Right that way.
Frank will grab AOC. We got Naomi here recovering her voice. Let her recover her voice.
Yeah.
So, this is a monumental election. As I was saying before Naomi came, the billionaires took a beating. Andrew Cuomo's taken a beating.
All right, let's do it. Okay.
Here we are.
But why was he the guy? Why was Mamdani the guy to give them a beating?
After the election, he learned the lessons of the election and applied them immediately. And New Yorkers all, instead of just doom scrolling and hating on Trump, organized him and offered an alternative. An offer. And I think he was the guy because, this is replicable.
Yes.
This is replicable. Like, the whole campaign was not just anti-fascist, but the antithesis of fascism, in the sense that fascists want uniformity, conformity, hierarchy, and this is a love letter to the
time when all of that's under assault.
Exactly. So even when it's not explicitly anti-fascist, everything it does is the opposite of fascism, right? And this is so important in this movement.
And what about? I got to ask you this. You've been writing about this. I've been writing about these topics for a long time. To see a guy who is unashamedly socialist winning in New York City. The S word.
Yeah. It's so interesting that Trump, it's like he's not a socialist.
He's a communist.
I guess socialism is rolling so well.
Yeah, it's been defanged.
Yeah, but you know what? New York has an incredible working class radical history. I mean, this city is like so many labor leaders came out of this city. The reason why there's social security in this country, the reason why there's Medicaid, the reason why there's, you know, the 5-day work week, all of that really came out of like the sweatshops of this city, right? That's why it's so disgusting to hear Jewish leaders claim that he's betraying Jewish New York, because a lot of those people were Jews.
Yeah.
You know, they were Jewish labor leaders, they were Jewish socialists and Jewish leftists. Zohran is part of that tradition, right?
Yes.
And they don't see that.
You are the third Jewish guest to speak to us tonight. We've had Brad Lander, we've had Simone Zimmerman, now we have Naomi Klein.
Today I did a rally with Jews for Zohran.
I thought there weren't any.
We did it in Grand Army Plaza, just outside of Chuck Schumer's house. And it was the exact location where we had the Seder in the streets a year and a half ago. And at the end of that Seder, at the end of my speech, right, which we talked about, I said to Chuck, that we're not saying let white people go, we're saying we've already gone, and your kids, they're with us now.
Okay.
So what I said is that today your kids elected Zohran Mamdani mayor.
Okay, last question. Last question before I let you go. What is your message to Chuck Schumer today? Resign. That's a good answer. Naomi, always a pleasure. Great to see you. Great to see you. Thank you for being part of Zeteo. We need you back on the podcast soon. That was Naomi Klein. It's great to be here. I don't need this mic. It's great to be here with Zeteo contributors, also part of this. Naomi, Cynthia, Jamaal, Simone.
Yeah.
Been interesting. This is a kind of love letter to Zeteo.
Indeed.
Not just
Mamdani. Show. I mean,
saying.
If you're not subscribing yet, you gotta get on it, baby.
We got another great guest heading this way.
Yes.
Lindsey Boylan is here. Grab a microphone, step into our little studio.
Lindsey? So good to see you.
Lindsey Boylan is an activist, an organizer, a political person in New York. She's also a whistleblower who quit the Cuomo administration, was the first woman, correct me if I'm wrong, to call out publicly Andrew Cuomo for his vile record of sexual harassment against multiple women. How do you feel about Andrew Cuomo tonight?
He's done, he's finished, and I couldn't be happier for New York, for survivors, and for women. I couldn't be happier.
I'm wondering how you feel. You're someone that obviously you've had to deal with the weight of this for so long, and also the weight of the fact that so many people nevertheless stood by him.
Yeah.
There was the silence, but there was also the active allyship with him.
Sad. I mean, it's very sad, but at the end of the day, it was so much more powerful. Zohran's campaign, all of the organizers who said this matters, abuse of women is abuse of power, and so it was so much more powerful than the cynical project to rehabilitate Andrew Cuomo.
You called it early on. You came on my show on Mehdi Unfiltered, I can't remember, 6 months, 9 months? It was a while ago. Really, when Zohran was still not polling as he was before. And you called it then that Cuomo was done.
He is done.
Why did he do this? You know him, you worked for him. What motivated him to do this? Humiliate himself at the end of his career?
For him, it was all about revenge. It's never been about New Yorkers. It's never been about helping people. It's always been about rehabilitating his image and getting back to power. And New Yorkers saw that, and they said, we're not going to take this anymore. And that's why Zohran, not only because he did so well on his own merits, but also because people don't want that kind of cynical, self-promotional power. Like Trump. Trump and Cuomo are the same person.
How do you think New Yorkers will feel tomorrow morning, Lindsey?
Amazing. And you know what's even great about Zohran is that he will work to bridge the gap even with people who didn't vote for him. So I think it's going to be a net positive for New York, and he's a really thoughtful, brilliant leader, brilliant campaigner, and I'm excited.
You're excited.
Yeah. I'm curious, because of course we're talking so much about the follies of Cuomo, and you're getting to this a little bit, but what were some aspects of Zohran's campaign that really excited you personally?
Two things. As an urban planner, the fastest free buses, and going into how we make that work, and how congestion pricing was a positive thing for New York because we can make all these infrastructure improvements to transit, and how we can actually help the most needy New Yorkers with free buses. And then secondly, universal childcare. This is an amazing extension of universal pre-K. It's a perfect time to build on that, and it's an equity issue that affects so many New Yorkers. I'm a mom, and I know so many people have had to leave this city because of it.
Lindsey, thank you so much for taking time out for us tonight. It's a great interview. Do check out my interview with Lindsey earlier. We got another guest now coming in. I think we can introduce the Attorney General from the great state of New York. Letitia James is here. How are you feeling tonight?
Oh my God. Listen, this is about a sleeping giant that has finally awakened. This is about individuals who have never been involved in the body politic, individuals who never received a knock on their door, individuals who had suffered from apathy, individuals obviously who wanted to believe in a candidate, and that candidate is Zohran Mamdani.
Why did you believe in him so early on?
I believed him because I saw this excitement. Well, first of all, I endorsed it after the primary. And the reason why is because I went back to my home in my beloved Brooklyn, and there was so much excitement on the street.
Yes.
And so many individuals who said believe in him. So many individuals who were suffering under the weight of poverty. So many people who believed in his...
We're in the middle of a live, guys. Can we step out? It's the Attorney General of New York.
It's okay. So many people who believed in his mission, in his vision, and who believed in his dream. And that's why I supported him.
And what do you think Donald Trump, your old friend Trump's going to do tomorrow morning?
Listen, I don't subscribe to the politics of fear, hate, or division. It doesn't work. It did not work in New York, it didn't work in Virginia, and it didn't work in New Jersey.
One aspect that a lot of people have been getting at is the fact that it's not just about the campaign, it's about what happens tomorrow.
Yes.
How do you think about the issue in question of making sure Zohran Mamdani can carry out his agenda?
I have promised to work with Zohran Mamdani. You know, listen, as the Attorney General of the state of New York, we've been responding to these unlawful, illegal, and unconstitutional executive orders, and we've been winning. And at the end of the day, I look forward to working with his mayoralty and responding to any threats that come from Washington, D.C. My job is to protect New Yorkers. We've been doing it, we've been winning it, and we're going to continue to do just that.
Do you guys have a plan for what everyone's worried about? Troops,
It's important that you understand that prior to the election of Donald Trump, we planned. Democratic attorneys general all across this nation, we planned. And you can bet we are planning in the anticipation of any harm coming from Washington, D.C.
I got to ask one general question.
Yes, sir.
You were the person who brought him to court and won in court, right?
Yes.
Why didn't the rest of the Democrats do that? It kills me. You've seen the MSNBC reporting, Carol Lenig's new book. I got to ask, it bothers the hell out of me.
Listen.
Why did you and Alvin Bragg do what Merrick Garland couldn't do?
Because we did an investigation, a 2-year investigation, and we followed the facts and we followed the evidence. And as a result of that, it was incumbent upon me to, again, bring that lawsuit. It's as simple as that. The facts were clear, the evidence was clear. And as the Attorney General of the state of New York, we cannot run away. And we won. And that's why...
And now you're targeted by him.
Now he's weaponizing DOJ in a baseless case against me. And then at the end of the day, the case is all about one thing, and that is loving my family.
Tish James, thank you so much for your time.
I love you all.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. What a night.
Happy day.
That was, when I give you that microphone, that was Letitia James, Attorney General of the great state of New York, who just happened to be walking by. She's still meeting people here. She's with Lindsey Boylan. She's going to be a crucial player in the Mamdani future. She said herself, she's going to back Mamdani. We know that Donald Trump is threatening to cut federal funding. He's threatening to send troops in. Mamdani will need the support of Governor Hochul and Attorney General Tish James. He hasn't got the support of Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, but he does have the two most important statewide officials.
The dichotomy is actually so remarkable that most state officials, I think, perhaps because they're more familiar with what the political dynamics are on the ground within the state, they understand the commanding presence that Zohran Mamdani has, and therefore they're responding in token. They're responding in such a way that they're going to collaborate and work with him. Whereas Chuck Schumer, Kirsten Gillibrand, I don't know if it's because they have other entrenched interests, I don't know if it's because they're not seeing what everyone else is, but they are refusing to do what every other official in New York is doing, which is identifying his strength, his vitality as a candidate and as a leader, and going with him. think one final point here, that's why the numbers tonight are so important. If Zohran Mamdani continues to be at 50% or higher, that is a mandate that is seen by every other official in New York City. Because Zohran Mamdani does have a very ambitious agenda. It's one that he needs people to go along with, to greenlight various different steps along the way of the fake bureaucracy. He needs to make sure that they collaborate and don't try to stop him too.
Let's just talk about that 50% number.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has never won 50% of the vote. In 2016, he lost the popular vote. In 2020, he lost the election and the popular vote. In 2024, he got 49.5% of the vote. According to the numbers we're seeing, Zohran Mamdani is already above 50.
He is breaking 1 million votes just now.
So think about it this way. Can he weaponize, let's use the phrase, that vote share in the way that Donald Trump does? Whenever Trump is questioned, he says, millions of Americans voted for me. We have a mandate, even though he does have a mandate. But he says, I have a mandate. So isn't it time that the mayor of New York, a Democrat, takes the same message to the people?
Rock and roll.
Majority voted for me. F you.
Yeah. We've seen what this administration has done in the name of a mandate in the last 9 months, let alone 4 years prior, 8 years ago. It's ridiculous, and yet it happens. Zohran Mamdani, he might very well have a much more affirmative mandate to do much more in everything that he has set out to do.
Okay, let's bring in another guest. Adam Green is here, well-known veteran progressive organizer, man who knows the Democratic Party inside out.
This is a glorious night for progressives.
A glorious night for progressives. Did you think it would happen? Because progressives are used to being beaten.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The corporate Democrats are running scared tonight.
Okay.
This proves
that they will say Abigail Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill won in New Jersey and Virginia.
Yes. Look, I think what tonight is proving is that, yes, some people can have an anti-Trump agenda, but somebody with a genuine anti-billionaire, pro-working families agenda can win. And they are running scared because when he was at 1% in the polls, they thought they could squash him in the cradle, and they could not get the job done. They thought Mike Bloomberg could spend $8 million and then another $5 million. They'd not get the job done. And this is going to have ripple effects all across the country. The types of candidates that our organization trains will look to him as a model.
Remind our viewers your organization.
What is that?
Remind our viewers about your organization.
The Progressive Change Campaign Committee, boldprogressives.org, trains hundreds of state and local candidates in addition to helping federal candidates.
It's interesting you mentioned that. How inspiring do you think this will be to somebody sitting at home in their 20s who's like a 34-year-old guy who's only been in elected office since 2020, who's only been a citizen since 2018? If he can do it, I can do it.
We hear that over and over again. All it takes is a catalyzing event like this for tons of good people to run and to run on their values. It's funny. Sometimes when we do candidate trainings, I say, raise your hand if you've been told that your ideas are not popular. And everybody raises their hands. And I'm like, raise your hand if your campaign manager said that. And they all raise their hand. Raise your hand if your mom said that, right? Zohran is going to show people across the country that there is a market with voters for taking on millionaires and putting money in people's pockets, challenging power. The type of stuff that you do all the time is not fringe, it's mainstream. And that is proven tonight.
Well said. Prem.
So what is your message to those tomorrow who may try to draw this as an anomaly, as a special case, as something that, Zohran Mamdani can do it for X, Y, and Z reasons, but this is not the roadmap, this is not the blueprint. There's no blueprint, or Abigail Spanberger's blueprint. What is your message in response to that?
So my honest message to Democrats across the country is, look at the traits of Zohran's campaign more than any one issue. What he proved as he got tens of thousands of people to pack a stadium and knock on doors and then vote for him ultimately is that a forward-looking agenda is what inspires people. Mikey Sherrill won in New Jersey tonight. We'll see what the ultimate margin was. But people weren't as enthusiastic about her as they were for Zohran. And if we're going to outperform like we need to outperform...
Hold on. You know, Adam, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say Abigail Spanberger got 58% of the vote versus Zohran 51, even though it's not a comparable race.
It's not comparable. My analogy would be the North Carolina governor's race last cycle, where current Governor Josh Stein was blessed to have a ridiculous, unelectable opponent wallop to them.
Yes.
But that was not a harbinger of anything, as evidenced by Trump winning on the same ballot.
Well, Trump didn't even endorse the Republican candidate in Virginia, Winston Malcia.
Right. So that was more of an outlier. And if they want to say, if the corporate Democrats want to say they could basically beat a non-existent opponent, that's an interesting argument. But what this proves today is that up against the juggernaut of the corporate Democrat machine, backed by Republicans, backed by billionaires, backed by Mike Bloomberg, Zohran, with the power of his message, can still win. That should be a signal to every Democrat who wants to get people volunteering and to the polls for them this election.
Let me ask you this, Adam. Bernie Sanders backed Zohran, AOC backed Zohran. Bernie's been on a tour, oligarchy tour with AOC. I often joke that if Zohran wasn't born in Uganda, tomorrow morning he would be at the lead of the presidential 2028 contenders list. He can't be, for obvious constitutional reasons. Where does this leave the presidential race and the left's role in that?
So again, this is a catalyzing event. You know, I am pretty convinced that the current difference in American politics is not really left versus right. It's inside versus outside.
Yes. Well said.
People that you talk about all the time, the big corporations versus everybody else. And what this does is it puts wind in the sail of anybody who might be thinking about running for president and thought, you know what, can I actually get it done? Will the people reward me if I jump into the race? This will get a lot of people who might be on the cusp of running to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. And that's what we need. We can't just have 20-year politicians. We really need some outsiders to run in the presidential race, whoever it ends up being.
Adam Green, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking time out for us. Always good to chat.
Appreciate you so much.
I do want to talk about the history-making candidacy of this mayoral candidate. I think we have a graphic we're going to pull up because we have to remind you all about what a big deal this is. Zohran Mamdani is the first Muslim mayor of New York City. He is the first mayor of South Asian descent. He is the first mayor born in Africa. Barack Obama was not born in Kenya. Zohran Mamdani was born in Uganda. And he's the youngest mayor of New York, 34 years old, since 1917, over 100 years. So he is a history-making candidate on multiple levels, Prem.
I think something that he was getting at actually underscores all of this so well, which is that one big difference between Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, and Zohran Mamdani. Kudos to them, to be clear, but one big difference is that those two had the benefit of the Democratic Party supporting them.
Yes.
Zohran Mamdani, his entire time, has not only been running against Republicans, he's been running against Democrats, he's been running against the entire political machine, the media, and doing all of that as, you said, a young 33, now 34-year-old socialist, born in Africa, Indian American, Muslim, all of that, and he's still performing so well such that he's about to be one of the most famous political dynasties in New York City.
Yes.
Against, again, the interests of the billionaire class, against Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the sitting president. That is remarkable.
I don't know how Andrew and Chris Cuomo are feeling tonight. Let's put up another graphic that we have about how much money the billionaires spent. I think we put that up on screen right now, the billionaires graphic. You can see how much money Michael Bloomberg and the Estee Lauder family and Bill Ackman were spending in this race to try and stop Zohran Mamdani, and it didn't work. I would say this, by the way. Do you remember how many times they all mispronounced his name?
Oh my God.
I just listened to Tish James. Tish James mispronounced his name as well. But when she does it, it's sweet.
Honest mistake.
Honest mistake. When Cuomo does it, it's deliberate. When Elon Musk called him Mumdoomy today, he tweeted Mumdoomy. Elon Musk called him Mumdoomy. The Caroline Levitt called him Zamdani. Cuomo called him Mandami. Well, guys, you're gonna have to learn his fucking name now.
Mamdani.
Zohran Kwame Mamdani. That's the name of the next mayor of New York City.
Read and weep. Read and weep. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like the foreignizing is old. No one cares about it. What's this? The White House has tweeted a New York Knicks stylized Trump is your president, which is the most hilarious
Lovely to meet you. Do you want to chat to us on our live stream? Can we get a microphone?
Hey.
We got council member Shahana Hanif. We got council member Shahana Hanif here who backs Zohran. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. It is surreal to be a Muslim Brooklynite. One, I never thought I was going to ever run for office and win. And to
you were re-elected.
I was re-elected in what was a very tough primary. And, you know, the same targets that came after Zohran, billionaires, the Trump adjacents came after me too, and they failed. What we're seeing is excitement by New Yorkers who care about leaders who will work
with them and for them on the issues that are impacting us. And that's affordability.
How do you, a simple question, politics aside, brown Muslim woman in New York, and the Muslim guy's mayor, how does that make you feel?
It feels like I'm powerful. We are taking over New York City.
Oh God, that's going to be clipped by Daily Wire.
I know.
We're taking over New York City.
Well, yeah, I'm curious how you think about tonight with regards to how you want other people in the New York political scene to be thinking about this. Like, is this a warning shot? Is this like, hey, like get on board? Like, what do you want to tell them about this moment and about tomorrow? What happens next?
Look, we need every Democrat that stayed out to now say we are going to work with Mayor Zohran Mamdani. And I think you all know who I'm talking about.
Is his name Charles Schumer?
Yes.
What's your message to Senator Schumer tonight?
Look, Senator Schumer, you are our leader, and we expect that you will work with the Democrats of your city. Because the issues that are hurting New Yorkers, I know you prioritize.
Were you impressed with Governor Hochul's role in this?
Say that again?
Were you impressed with Governor Hochul's role?
Oh yeah, I'm super impressed with Governor Hochul's decision to endorse, and for her to be able to come out with Zohran after the endorsement, including at a huge rally where she was getting food and tax the rich was the slogan being chanted. So for her to realize where Democrats are moving towards, and that is a leader like Zohran Mamdani, is very important.
You heard the result out of Virginia. Ghazala Hashmi is the first Muslim woman to be elected to statewide office anywhere in the United States, the new lieutenant governor. Things are changing.
Things are changing.
Despite the darkness.
Yeah, that's right. No, there's so much light, and these down ballot races are so important because we are at the front line of defense for our communities. And look, people understand that, and that's what we're fulfilling right now by showing up.
Councilmember Hanif, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I think we should have one moment for people just to listen.
Yes. Listen to the history, right? I'll put the microphone down.
Yeah, let's listen to the history right now.
Yes, how are you doing? Coming to the live, how are you doing?
Let's do it.
Join us,
And he's been on live this entire time because I definitely crashed a few times.
You're live on Zeteo. How do you feel about a Muslim mayor of New York?
Listen, being born and raised as a Muslim girl in New Jersey, right here outside of Ground Zero, I never imagined watching a Muslim ascend to the mayoral office at the heart of Ground Zero.
And as a Palestinian American, how do you feel about a mayor who called out the genocide without any fear?
Listen, this should not be news. This is not surprising. This is not shocking. Zohran Mamdani simply reflects what the people want to see. He's reflecting what the people want to hear. And it tells the establishment a very strong message that if you put the right people and the right policies in front of the public, they're going to come out and they're going to vote for that change.
I mean, what more else is there to say? What do you think how do you want other Democrats to respond?
They have to learn the lessons from this race. They have to emulate the policies. I mean, even with Zohran's policies, he still gets pushed back to go even more on the left because we need that. We need to see the Democratic Party actually challenge MAGA. They have to step up. They have to fight for our constitutional rights. They have to fight for our democracy.
What's your message to young Muslims going, maybe I could run for office?
Oh my God, the sky is the limit. I ran for Congress. I was the first Muslim woman to do it.
Yes.
And Zohran shows that, listen, even if we try and we fail, you gotta keep pushing forward because eventually we're gonna get that win, and that win is gonna open the dams. So many more people are gonna walk through the doors, not just Muslim Americans, but Americans from so many different minorities that never saw themselves reflected in their leadership. This is a really incredible moment, especially for our generation, for young people.
Well said, Amani. Thank you so much for taking time out. Appreciate it. Good to see you. I think we've got time for another guest. We're going to try and squeeze in. We're live on air, but thank you. We love the fans. We love the fans at Zeteo. I hope you're all watching. We're still waiting for Zohran Mamdani to turn up on that stage and speak. But we have Michael Blake here. You can just come over here. Michael Blake is here, another New York politician. Grab a microphone.
Absolutely.
How you doing? What's your reaction to the news tonight?
Look, it's a fantastic night. It's one of the reasons we cross-endorsed Zohran in June. You know, I was very clear that if it wasn't me, it needed to be him. He believed in cost of living. And look, I'm gonna be real. As a son of immigrants, I feel really damn good.
Yeah.
There was racism.
We just had Mira Nair come over. His mom come talk to us.
It's just like when you think about the racism, the Islamophobia, the nastiness that they said about this man, and now he's gonna be mayor-elect. And it sends a message to the city and the country, you do it right, you're gonna win.
When you cross-endorsed, what was going through your mind in terms of why you were so confident to get behind and collaborate with Zohran Mamdani the way that you did?
Because we were both talking about cost of living.
Yeah.
We were both talking about what people wanted to talk about, and we were being real.
Yeah.
There's a genocide happening. People are hurting.
Yeah.
They want you to be real. They're tired of people bullshitting them.
Yeah.
And special.
Michael, as you said, you ran for mayor, you cross-endorsed, you backed Mamdani. He's now the mayor. What are you doing next?
I think people are going to see good things we're going to do for the Bronx.
Okay. Is Mr. Torres going to face any kind of...
You know, tonight is about Zohran Mamdani.
Okay. But keep watching this man, because I think he may have some news at some point.
That's it.
Well, if you have anything to share, you can share with us.
Share with Zeteo when you have the news. Let me ask you this. What's your message to Donald Trump tonight?
White supremacy lost tonight. Racism lost tonight. Your bullshit lost tonight. Islamophobia lost tonight. Donald Trump, you lost again. And we feel really damn good that, again, immigrants got the job done.
Well, you know what I say? 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants doing the jobs Americans don't want to do.
Keeping it real.
There you go.
Thank you, Michael Blake. We're going to swap. Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you
for taking time out. We got to know. This is a busy old night. Now we're going to swap out. Nomiki, come join us. I'm going to give you a mic.
Together, right?
She's doing our press. So he just
We're going to
asked
talk.
me.
I just asked you about someone. This is all a little crazy. Things are coming and going. Nomiki Konst is here. Journalist. Grab a microphone.
Oh my God, I'm holding it okay.
It's noisy.
Back in my old job.
Nomiki's here. Nomiki has run for office. Nomiki has been a journalist. Nomiki's been an activist. What do you make of tonight? How historic is it?
This is, okay, obviously Zohran is one of the best candidates we've seen in our lifetime.
Yes.
But it has also been built off of so many movements. So many people have been fighting the Cuomo machine for decades. The IDC, which ran into Cynthia Nixon, who took on an amazing campaign against Cuomo that helped defeat the IDC, which is 8 Democrats who work with Republicans. Held up so much. Bill de Blasio, I'm biased, but this is the moment, and it's just, and obviously Bernie's campaign was huge in New York too. So to see all these movements come together and to have Zohran as such an exceptional candidate be our symbol.
Nomiki, you mentioned him, I didn't. Bill de Blasio. That endorsement, how important was that?
I mean, I think Zohran got all the endorsements. It was very important. It was important
He didn't get Chuck Schumer. But
he did, you're not right.
Which is why I'm saying it was important. The hopefuls, the de Blasios, he didn't need them. I think he was going to win regardless. But it was important to show that there is a wing of the Democratic Party that's with him, even if the Gillibrands and Schumer's a coward.
Right. And they should be primary.
Agreed.
Let's be very clear.
Yes, primary.
They're not acting like Democrats. Democrats support Democrats. Democrats show some fight in the middle of a shutdown. We care about affordability. I have not seen Senator Gillibrand do any of that. But I think when you win with Mayor de Blasio, Bill, he also showed that what Zohran was presenting was doable. Because so much of what Zohran has presented is stuff that actually was achieved under de Blasio's administration, under much worse conditions. He had Trump in the White House, he had a Republican Senate, and he had Andrew Cuomo fighting him with him along the way. And he still was able to tax the rich and pass that to do free for all.
It's true. Finally, one question I have. You bring up Bernie, you bring up people power. So much of the time we think about, oh, Chuck Schumer should do this, Kirsten Gillibrand should do this, if only Hakeem Jeffries did this. It seems they're not doing this. So how do you think you would talk to people about what we should be doing instead of relying on the idea of Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer changing their minds someday about these questions?
I mean, I think what's going to be the tough part right now, moving into this administration, is that Mayor-elect Mamdani, I can't believe I'm saying that, that's amazing. He is, to keep that movement alive and keep putting pressure on folks on the streets of New York and organizing. And then also, it also creates a buffer for him because he's going to enter the media world as a mayor, and people are going to start criticizing him like they did with de Blasio. So keeping that movement alive protects him too.
I hope Bill de Blasio is giving him some advice. Nomiki, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you
Lovely.
so much.
Now,
Thank you.
I'm telling you, there is so much shit going on here. I'm seeing people I haven't seen for years. I'm losing my voice. Anand Giridharadas is here. Jennifer Welch is here. Come on in, guys. All right. Squeeze in, squeeze in. Come in the middle. Prem's here. I'm gonna give his mic. How are you?
Leather Jacket Society.
The Leather Jacket Society. We got one mic between us. Come in the middle. You can only go one mic. We're live on Zeteo. What's your reaction to Zohran winning?
I am so, can I cuss?
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
I am so fucking excited. We need this. We need this victory in Virginia, New Jersey, and New York City, baby, which I've been living here for 1 month now. I'm out of the Bible Belt. No, because I didn't want to be accused of like voter fraud.
Yeah.
You know, because my permanent residence is still Hogg.
Democrats are so honest. Anand, what was your reaction tonight?
It made me honestly think of how long it has been since 2016 and how few times since exactly around this time of year in 2016 we have felt any kind of opening. It has been so much closing, an emotion of closing again and again and again, elections closing, but also the sense of the door to our country closing, the door to our kids' future closing, the door to fixing the planet closing, the door to this being a multiracial democracy closing, so much closing. And in this room, there are different interests, there are different parties, there's people who actually want really different things about different things, but I think there is a sense that history's not linear, things go this way, they zag as well as they zig, and this is a sense of opening. And this is someone who was unapologetic and fearless and more substantive than a lot of progressives, but who was happier and more joyful and inviting than a lot of progressives.
I want to remind our viewers.
Yes.
Anand, first of all, your last name is Giridharadas, right?
Yes.
It's
the only guy in the room who can say it.
Okay. But Anand on Morning Joe called out Andrew Cuomo live on air when Cuomo kept getting Mamdani's name wrong. What does that mean to people at home when the guy called Zohran Mamdani and they're deliberately misrepresenting his name? Musk said today, Mamdani, whatever his name is.
There's two things here. There's mispronunciation, which is just failing to say a name properly. That's not a big deal. But there's a different thing, not mispronunciation, but dispronunciation. Dispronunciation is different from mispronunciation. Dispronunciation is deliberately saying a name wrong to remind you whose ground you're on. And what Andrew Cuomo was doing was dispronunciation. I called him on it, and then I asked him what I thought was a generous question, which is, we're 8 years from the peak of the Me Too movement. A lot of guys we never saw again. Charlie Rose, we don't know where he's living. Some guys came right back. Some guys, it was not as big a thing as initially reported. There was a whole spectrum, right? I said, what if you're back, you're in this position. 8 years, even a man can learn a lot of things in 8 years. And I said, what have you learned? How have you grown as a man? What ways have you learned to interact differently? And I'm going to summarize a very long answer where he basically said he learned that young people are hypersensitive and that his daughters misunderstand, even his own daughters misunderstand everything he says. So this is also a victory for not just an ideology, but frankly, against a sclerotic establishment that is incapable of evolution.
So let me ask Jennifer this. You often talk about being from Oklahoma, growing up around people who are country club Republicans. What is their reaction tonight to this brown dude from Africa becoming mayor of the Big Apple? I'm going to say this because it's so noisy, I'm going to move the microphone. They're freaking out.
They are freaking the fuck out. This is their worst nightmare. White country-club Republicans, when they see educated brown-skinned people like you all, like Zohran, it is a threat to their privileged position that they held. And they see it as un-American, and they see it as If it was all white people here right now, it would be boring as shit. I've grown up in those circles. Everybody needs some spice and some color in their lives. Life's a lot better. That's the coolest thing about America. Americans have no culture except for multiculturalism.
Well said.
And we need to teach people how to embrace that. These crusty white people need to learn how to embrace it. Because they do when they pick their entertainment.
Yes.
And they need to when they start picking representatives.
It's funny you said the Obama playbook. As I pointed out earlier today, he's everything they said Obama was but wasn't. He actually is a Muslim socialist from Africa.
Right.
That's going to break their brains.
Right.
That's good.
So, Prem, you want to come in?
I'm actually so thankful that we have both of you here because I think when we think about the Obama years, I'm okay, I'm mic'd up, but thank you.
You guys need the mic.
When we think about the Obama years, we think so much about fight, we think so much about hope and optimism. Those are things that both of you speak so beautifully to, I think, really. How do you think about this moment with regards to what a politics of fighting, positive optimism, hope, feel like it looked like in terms of how the people should be feeling? You know, we talk so much about how like the Democrats should be feeling, or the billionaires, but how should the people be feeling about right now and what this could mean?
So much bigger to me because of 10 years of Trump either being in power or controlling the narrative that this is the problem, this is what makes America weak. And this victory, deep in the heart of this fascist regime, it was such a rejection of that white supremacist culture. And this victory, you have a lot of people that ride the fences politically, not like all of us that are locked in, but ride the waves and run the journey. And I think this victory is so important. I think it's going to get possibly some cowardice, moderate Republicans, and militia structure to start standing up to this fascist regime. And I think we're going to see Trump try to flex his muscles. And I think we're going to see some Republicans that are thinking about their career after Trump start to stand up because of this victory.
I think what is most interesting about him is that the fight, he's clearly fighting a fight, and he won the fight tonight. But the fight was not necessarily the front and the center or the tip of the spear. This was a movement of tremendous optimism, human feeling, empathy, magnanimity to people who feel differently. He started by talking to Trump voters, black and brown and immigrant Trump voters in Queens. Every algorithm would say vote for the left, but this time, one time in 2024, went right, and he didn't go scolding.
Yes.
Like many in his movement would. And he said, I'm curious. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're doing. And there was this moment where they told him, and he listened. And then they didn't know who this guy was, by the way. And he said his ideas. And they were like, I want all those things. And then he was like, I'm running for mayor, and those are my ideas. And they were like, I'm voting for you. Everybody here in this media pen lives in a fantasy land where people are all one thing or all some other thing, or you're some white guy from rural Michigan, or you're some black woman from Brooklyn, and we know everything about you. But no one works like that. People are novels. That's why novels exist. Every one of us has the capacity to be toggled into a conservative, fearful, I'm in my tribe, I don't want change version of ourselves, and every one of us can be toggled into a let's roll the dice, let me deal with people who are different. He toggled a lot of people with the spirit of joy and welcome and openness that a lot of progressives fail to do. This was, to be honest, I have great respect for Bernie. This would never have happened without Bernie, but this is an evolution on Bernie.
We're seeing Andrew Cuomo is taking to the stage. Andrew Cuomo is taking to the stage. He's getting booed. Thanks, Anand. Good to see you. Andrew Cuomo is getting booed by the Zohran Mamdani crowd. He's about to speak and end his career for another time. If you can we take it? We'll give it a break. Take Cuomo. We're going to take a break as Cuomo's about to speak. We're going to try and bring you Cuomo, so don't go anywhere.
We're still waiting for the main man, Zohran Mamdani. He'll be speaking live on this stage very soon. But Cuomo's going first. Stay with us, guys. My voice, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. We are back at the Zohran Mamdani election night rally. There's a lot of people here. And with us now is David Hogg, activist, former DNC deputy chair. How's it going? What's your reaction tonight?
Good, I'm extremely excited. My group, Leaders We Deserve, was one of the largest supporters of a super PAC to support him, and it's awesome to see the end of a political dynasty in the form of Andrew Cuomo tonight.
We just saw him concede and say congratulations to Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. He doubled down and put even more nails in his coffin.
Disgraced himself with a disgraceful campaign.
Karma.
Prem.
As we said, we'll have to share mic. Sorry, folks.
It's noisy here, super
Very
noisy.
loud. As we said, you're of course formerly in the DNC. What is your message to DNC officials specifically after tonight?
Either we can learn to stand up as a party to special interests and stand for actually lowering costs by taking on the corporations and private utilities and other groups that have made it so much more expensive to live in America, or we can refuse to do that and continue to lose elections, right? The lesson here is not that every city is New York City. That's not the message, but it's to say the tactics that Zohran used here, Democrats across the country should be using. Asking voters, what can I do for you? How can I humbly serve you? And using that to create a clear, simple message of the specific ways they plan to lower costs for voters.
And I'm curious, you're a young person, I'm a young person. We spent years of our political life being told again and again, oh, the kids are going to save us. Oh, like, look at these young people, these shiny young people getting involved. But I think you've really come to terms lately with it's not just enough to be young, but there's got to be a thrust beneath that youth that has to be geared towards this broader ambition for the future of that youth. Tell me more about how you've come to terms with that and how Zohran relates to that idea.
Yeah, what we're trying to do with Leaders We Deserve is we're not trying to just elect any young person that's the same as the kind of people that are there right now. What we're trying to do is elect young people with an actual spine, who don't take corporate money, who stand up to special interests, who stand for things like gun safety and fighting the root causes of gun violence and more. And that's why we don't just support somebody because they're young, right? We support somebody because they actually stand for something and they are young. Because we'll come into a race like this and spend $300,000, even though we know there may be major donors that are pissed off about it. I got 2 donors that called me after we supported Zohran, 2 major ones, and said, we're not going to give you over $500,000 because you supported Zohran, but I got to tell them to go fuck themselves because we are supported by 230,000 individual small dollar donors, many of whom are in this room tonight. That's what makes our work possible. We're trying to exist as an organization like, yeah, we're a super PAC. Our goal is to not be able to exist anymore because we need to overturn things like Citizens United.
What do you make of Michael Bloomberg? Came very late, still throwing money into this race, the former mayor.
It's a weird way of taxing the wealthy, right? If they want to continue spending money on elections that they lose. You know, Bill Ackman said this crazy, long essay on Twitter about how Cuomo was going to win, and what I said to Bill was, dude, what are you smoking, and where can we get some for the victory party for Zohran? Because clearly it's good, right? And if he wants to continue to blow his money on failed elections of sexual predators, I guess go ahead. The people in cities like New York are done with it.
Let me ask you this, David. You got in a lot of trouble with the DNC because you were in favor of primarying certain people who deserve to be primaried. I asked Naomi Klein, what was her message to Chuck Schumer? She said resign. Nomiki Konst, a lot of people tonight on this show have said Chuck Schumer should be primaried because of his disgraceful lack of leadership. What do you think?
I think the bottom line is fostering a healthy culture of competition within our safe states, within our safe districts. We stand nothing but to benefit from that. And that would include primarying somebody like Chuck Schumer. Obviously, his election is still coming up. I don't think it's not this term, right? So
28.
Jesus. It's 4 years, right? But the bottom line is we need to show people in the Democratic Party that especially if you are in a safe seat, you're not safe. You may be challenged, and we only stand to benefit from that, right? And frankly, some of our leaders like Hakeem Jeffries, who primaried people multiple times to get to his position, should be just fine with that.
Let me ask you this. The Democratic Party gerontocracy. A lot of old folks. We now have a 34-year-old mayor of New York. What message does that send to young people who are activists and that you meet every day?
Well, what we're seeing across the country tonight is there's lots of young people who are running, But the ones who've done best are ones like Zohran, who actually stand for something and are not just younger versions of the 80-plus-year-old like blue dogs that are there right now. And the ones that tried to have those same policy positions, even if they had great social media, barely got above 5% in most of their elections. You have to actually stand for something, not just for the present necessarily, or like what you think is going to get you into power. You need to be a candidate like Zohran in the sense that you got to know what you actually believe in and stick by that and be willing to lose, but use democracy to rally your base, expand the electorate, and win to take on special interests and build a Democratic Party that stands against corporate money and stands for the American people.
David, I'm curious, again, you're former DNC for now. What do you think about yourself in terms of what comes next? How do you want to continue operating in the political space, agitating, pushing, getting more involved, maybe in some office? Where are you seeing yourself right now?
So what I think about is what is the best role that I can serve using my platform, using my privilege to help bring my generation into power. What I saw with people like Maxwell Frost when I helped him run for Congress was that it is extremely expensive to run for office. He had the grit, he had the will, he had the determination, but it was really hard to raise money. I was able to help him raise a couple $100,000, which is great. That shouldn't be necessary, but it is right now. What I plan on doing is continuing to build leaders we deserve into an absolute fucking juggernaut that stands up to special interests and gets great young people elected who actually stand for something, are not younger versions of the people that are currently there, and stand up to special interests. And if they end up siding with those special interests, we will fucking primary them.
David, last question for you. What's next for David Hogg?
Well, you just asked the same question. But what's next for me is building out...
That's how noisy it is, that me standing on this side of the room cannot hear what Prem is asking.
What's next is building out leaders we deserve. Because my role, what I think about is what is best for my generation, right? Could I run for office? Sure, but I'd be one vote. Republicans would raise a ton of money off of me being, one vote. I'm here to help support people like Zohran. Instead of raising millions of dollars for myself to run for office, I would rather help elect great young people around the country who don't have the privilege of raising that money.
Any other results you're really got a keen eye on tonight?
We also had two other candidates running tonight. Christian Menefee in Houston, Texas, who's going into a runoff for the congressional seat where Sylvester Turner and Sheila Jackson Lee died one after another. Yeah. Unbelievable. And he's an awesome attorney that's sued the Trump administration multiple times, now running for Congress, taken on corporate actors, brought them to court, and won. And then we also have a 21-year-old candidate named Akbar Ali in Georgia who's likely going to head on into a runoff for his state legislative race.
That's also tonight.
Yeah, he would be the youngest person ever elected to the Georgia state legislature since our previous candidate last year, who was 23 when he was elected to the Georgia state legislature.
David Hogg, keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you. Thanks for taking time out.
And the only thing I'd ask is if you can, please support us at leaderswedeserve.com. Like I said, there were two people that called me up and told us that they're not giving us several $100,000 to support us because we supported Zohran. Look, we're not here to serve major donors' interests. We're here to help build a better Democratic Party, the party of the working class that is not going to be built by solely just a bunch of billionaires and what they want.
Well said, David. Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
That was David Hogg, former gun rights activist, now Democratic Party activist, former DNC guy. He is the person who has challenged a lot of sitting politicians. People are getting very excited as they wait here for Zohran Mamdani to really get ready to speak to this crowd and come up on stage here. We're waiting for him to turn up. Andrew Cuomo has conceded. Prem, what's he been saying?
Yeah, while we wait for Zohran, first of all, let's get here. Let's show the crowd, Mehdi, right behind you.
Trying to see what it is.
On the screen.
It's Bernie and Zohran. Bernie's done a post congratulating him. Yeah. But what's Cuomo?
But yes, while we wait for Zohran Mamdani to deliver his winning speech, an excerpt from Andrew Cuomo's speech for those who might not have heard it. He congratulated. He said, "Congratulations to Zohran Mamdani." When he said that, his supporters actually started booing. And he did say, "No, that is not right. That is not right, and that is not us. That is not us." Tonight was their night, and as they start to transition to government, we will all help any way we can because we need our New York City government to work. We want it to work for all New Yorkers because our city is the greatest city in the world, and we will unite for New York City because we love New York City. I will say, that's a pretty nice message from Andrew Cuomo.
He was a complete dick for the campaign. He ran a disgracefully racist Islamophobic campaign. He laughed when a radio host said that Zohran Mamdani would be cheering on another 9/11. His super PAC in the last few days ran an ad of a plane hitting the Twin Towers with Zohran Mamdani's face superimposed on top of it. He dispronounced his name, to quote what Anand said. He didn't just mispronounce it, he dispronounced Mamdani multiple times. He ran a horrible campaign. It was cynical, it was negative. He didn't make a case for himself ever. He got Donald Trump's endorsement. He begged voters, Republicans, to vote for him, a former Democratic governor. He pointed out to Anand on the Morning Joe that he really had no regrets. He didn't apologize for what he did to those women. We had Lindsey Boylan, who was the first whistleblower to speak out. We saw her earlier tonight. He never apologized, never owned what he did. He disgraced his name. I mean, the Cuomo name is dirt.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think this concession tonight, I think, is the final chapter on the whiplash legacy that Cuomo has now delivered from this campaign in the past year. We have gone from Andrew Cuomo, who positioned himself as someone who would be the defender against Donald Trump, against attacks on New Yorkers, to someone who would cooperate with Donald Trump, to someone who in fact welcomed Donald Trump's support, to someone who would be Islamophobic, to have winks and nods towards the worst impulses in society, to now, this evening, delivering what is ultimately a nice sounding concession. And that, I think, shows kind of the hollowness of this campaign that has led to tonight, with Zohran Mamdani beating Andrew Cuomo.
Are we about to see? Are we about to see the man where he's about to come out? This crowd is full of excitement. We got a lot of people. You guys have been watching since 8:30 when we went live. You've seen the crowd here get bigger and bigger.
And it looks like he might be coming up soon. We're getting the stage set. Let's tune in.
Hey everyone, we are back. It's me and Prem. We're still here at the Mamdani event. He just finished speaking. Perhaps one of the best speeches we have heard in a long time. Zohran Mamdani took the stage. What was the atmosphere like in this room, Prem?
I feel like we are in the middle of American history. One element that I think cannot be emphasized enough from his speech was the idea that we are stepping into a new politics, that we are stepping into a new moment. The atmosphere tonight, not just about Zohran Mamdani, but about what he represented, about the idea of, in fact, democratic socialism in this country as being not something that's a scarecrow, not something that, as he said, is abstract, but that good governance and politics geared towards caring for the people can be primal.
It was a stunning speech. I wrote a book about speeches, and I can tell you that is one of the great speeches that I've heard live. I mean, people talk about him ranking with Obama and others in that oratory. The delivery, the way it was written, we were told earlier this night by Dora, his press secretary, that he wrote that speech himself tonight. It was stunningly delivered. A lot of lines jumped out at me. One line was this one. He said, "Breathe this moment in. We are breathing the air of a city reborn." And New York tonight certainly feels like a different place than it was yesterday. The crowd tonight was going crazy for every line. Prem, there was a very strong moment where he said, if they're going to come for any of us, they're going to have to come for all of us. It was a moment of solidarity. It was a moment of democratic socialism. It was a moment about immigrants and immigration. He also talked about proudly being an immigrant mayor. It was a very unapologetic speech.
It was remarkable. It was remarkable. Every single note he hit was exactly how he has been speaking this entire time. He did not back away from one aspect of his campaign, whether it was about his comfort with his identity or the fact that that wasn't the sole reason for his candidacy. That, in fact, much of the point of him running was because of his love for this city. I think that more than anything else describes how we got here and his speech. A love, a true, visceral, palpable love for this city. Yeah. Every aspect of it was about the fact that it wasn't about him. That, of course, it says Zohran from New York City here, but every aspect was about the people who got him here. I mean, you think back to this week, the past 2 weeks, the vicious Islamophobic attacks he has received. He has always related those attacks, not just to himself, but to the fact that there are thousands and thousands of Muslim New Yorkers who are also facing those attacks. And I think that really shows how we got here at all, and that drives his politics completely.
He was unapologetic. He will drive his opponents up the wall. He was willing to speak in Arabic. He said, "Ana minkum wa alaykum," I am from you, we are from us. It was a very strong message of solidarity in English and Arabic. He called his parents on stage. He had his wife on stage. He thanked his team. It was a very, I saw people crying in the crowd, especially when he talked about Muslims. It was a moment that really can bring people together. I don't understand how anyone can watch that speech and say that is not the future of the Democratic Party. That is not the soul of the Democratic Party. I know that people like Matt Iglesias are already on Twitter saying, look at Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey, look at Abigail Spanberger. I'm sorry, those people are mediocrities compared to what we just saw on stage. Put my own biases to one side. Yes, I share his politics. Yes, I share his faith. But that is a once-in-a-generation political talent, to speak like that, to bring people together like that. Why on earth are Democratic Party leaders turning their backs on that?
It's remarkable. I mean, we're getting initial exit polling data we're still combing through, but so far, a lot of the exit polling data shows that, in fact, out of all the big races this evening, Zohran Mamdani did perhaps the best among both young men and women amongst a lot of these high-profile races. You talk about wanting to build a candidacy for the future of this party. There's so much fetishization about the youth in the Democratic Party. You have the blueprint for the exact person that can bring the young people out.
What did the exit poll show again?
I believe there was one exit poll that showed that Zohran Mamdani was plus 40 with young men. That's compared to, I believe, Spanberger and Sherrill, who were both also positive, and I think 10 and 14 points respectively. I might have gotten that wrong. But Zohran Mamdani was plus 40 with young men. This has been a conversation for the past 2 years. Oh, how are we going to get young men? How are we going to get young men? I think you got your answer here, folks.
If the proverbial Martian landed in New York City tonight and came to this hall in Brooklyn and watched that speech and watched the reaction of the people, and then you told that person he doesn't have the backing of the leadership of his party, they don't think he's the future, I think the Martian would think the human race in New York is fucked up. Like, what are you doing? Why would you turn your back on that? In fact, I believe that if he wasn't born in Uganda, he would be the favorite for the 2028 presidential elections on the Democratic side. After that speech and tonight's result, he would walk it. And I think that's an interesting message for other leftists who are going to run.
Completely. I think one final aspect that's been so on top of my mind lately is, in the past few years, there's been a lot of soul-searching about the future of the Democratic Party. What does it mean to be a Democrat in America? We look at Barack Obama, his primacy, his success, even his maintaining success in American public opinion. And right now, there's a lot more sort of reflection on the success of Bernie Sanders, or the potential success of Bernie Sanders if he wasn't cut down by the party establishment years ago. Tonight felt like such a sort of confluence of so much of what made Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama successful. The promise of a hopeful politics, the promise not just for a change, but palpable, understandable, discernible change, and all of that under this sense that, yes, we can move forward, we can bring together this multi-ethnic, multi-racial, cross-generational democracy, but it doesn't have to come at the expense of inviting people into that tent with actual conviction. I think Zohran Mamdani has shown that that is possible. He is showing that you can have the hope, the rhetoric, the promise, the aesthetics of Barack Obama, but the substance and the interest of the promise of Bernie Sanders' candidacy. And I think that is going to be the lesson tonight.
I feel like Zohran's rubbed off on you tonight, Prem. You're just going for it.
The atmosphere. I wish you guys were here with us.
When are you running for mayor back home in North Dakota?
We'll see. I mean, hey, maybe the dominoes are going to fall.
We don't want to lose you from Zeteo. Look, I'm losing my voice. This guy is turning into Mamdani. It is a crazy, crazy atmosphere. Look at the crowd here tonight. People are going to be here all night. People are chanting DSA. DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. I can't remember which of our guests said it, Prem, but one of our guests tonight said that Bernie Sanders laid the ground for this, but Mamdani has evolved well beyond Sanders 2016 and 2020. What we're seeing tonight I mean, the way he talked about hope. Wherever I go and speak, I speak around the country. People are despairing. They are depressed. They say, how do you keep hope alive? That entire speech was all about hope. Not in a Barack Obama hopey changey, but in a very practical elaboration of what it means to be hopeful.
100%. And I feel like that kind of argument is so salient now when we think of both how desanitized or frustrated so many people in this country are with the horrors that surround us in the wake of COVID, in the storm of the isolation that we have all had to deal with. This kind of politics, there's a reason it shines so much. And I think if there's to be any lessons from tonight, is that this sticks, that this is connecting to people, and that it cannot be discounted as an anomaly or as something that cannot be perhaps a blueprint for a better politics in this country.
I should point out the most important thing you need to know about the speech tonight was that Zohran Mamdani ended his speech to the soundtrack of Dhoom Machale from a very popular Bollywood movie. That's how the next mayor of New York decided to mic drop at the end of his speech. For those of us who are Bollywood fans, it was a great moment in American political history. Richard Nixon never ended his speeches to a Bollywood soundtrack, but Zohran Mamdani did tonight. You know what, white supremacists? You're gonna have to go in a corner and cry a lot tonight. Bill Ackman, you're gonna have to cry and write some very long emails and tweets tonight. Elon Musk, you're gonna have to learn how to say his fucking name. Good luck to all of you. I think we're gonna call it quits. I gotta save my voice. I'll be on Charlemagne's Breakfast Club tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern if you still want to hear my opinions on this crazy race. Prem will be all over Zeteo. We will have our first draft email in your inbox with all the news from all the races. By the way, Prop 50 passed tonight in California. That means the Democrats can redistrict California and push back against gerrymandering. Big win for Gavin Newsom. Big win for Newsom. Big win for Abigail Spanberger. Big win for Mikey Sherrill. But the biggest win, by a mile, Zohran Kwame Mamdani. From me and Prem, good night.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to fucking Zeteo.